Well, it's been a quiet week here in Lake Scabagon, my hometown. This week the Squids talk about a new genre of music called dadcore, and check some voicemails. Our resident celebrity Brock gets recognized by their guest Jeff Sufferin. They talk local hotspots, the future of 90-pound wuss, dry 2025, facial hair, have some laughs, and play some games and more.
Guys, we resurrected a band.
Hey, good work, us.
We
I
did
think
it.
that was mostly you, but good job.
It's to the point. An official practice has been scheduled. A practice space has been booked.
Oh wow!
2 weeks.
That's
from
when you
tonight.
know it's legit. Yeah,
They're doing it. It's happening. So John wrote a riff yesterday. He sent it to us in a voice note.
Nice.
Not the one in the video. A new one.
Oh really?
Yeah, John's out of there shredding. So they're doing it, and we resurrected a band, and we're taking all the credit for it.
Nice.
From now on,
I'm glad.
it'll just be Project Dirt presented by a Pickle Home Companion, or a Pickle Home Companion presents Project Dirt. It's going to legally be in their contract and their name from now on.
Nice.
Perfect. Yeah, you have to say the whole thing.
That's right.
And I will get that
So
episode
we did.
edited eventually. It's my computer. It's struggling.
That's a big
to try and
job,
get
man.
through that one. Yeah.
A big job.
But then there was a joke going around, of going full dadcore and just writing songs about the dad experience that are super heavy, which of course, like the snip. So we got to have a song about violence down under.
Yep.
And so Adam's like, guys, no, new iteration. We should change the name again, and just hear me out. Lawn Boss.
That's pretty good.
I was like, I think this will work. I was like, I think there's a whole genre to be had here.
Oh,
of,
yeah.
like heavy dad songs, and all the shows start at 6 p.m. and everybody's home by 9.
I like that.
Love that.
Right. And the drink selection is better than like it used to be when you're in your teens and 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Like quality beverages, maybe some AC, something crazy.
Yep.
Some comfortable surroundings and comfortable shoes.
At a somewhat reasonable volume, slightly above.
That's right. There's earplugs passed
Slightly
out of the
above.
door.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like, come on, guys. We all have families to go home to. Take your earplugs.
Yep. I like this.
Maybe a child care corner in the side room.
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Just drop
either.
your kid off over there and let them mosh with each other. You don't even have to play. They can just mosh.
One of those like foam block pits. They can just go to town. in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be like emo night. You know, it's like a traveling brand now, but it's just going to be a dadcore night. And we're just going to go like it's dadcore night in your city. Bring your kids. We've got them covered.
Nice.
Everyone's at bed by 9. That's our one promise. Your face will get melted and you're asleep by 9. All right. So we ready to do this?
Should we do an intro?
Or do you want to say something? Why not? Can't hurt.
It's Happy Failure Puddle Friday, everybody. We got some voicemails. We are down a Pete. He's calling in sick today, unfortunately. And
Jeez, oh Pete.
geez, oh him. So hopefully it's a speedy recovery. And we have a special guest that will be joining us at some point. But for now, let's dive into some voicemails.
I'll tell you what, this Oliver person, this guy's got to get a life. I mean, does this guy have nothing better to do than just sit here and listen to Pickle and Boot
He's talking about a kid.
and like think that he can contribute? I mean, come on. Who is this guy? Get him off the air.
Get him off the air.
That roofer's still angry.
Man.
Yeah, more so. Well, I will say, without any qualification, I think he has nothing better to do, as far as I can tell. And this is actually pretty good. I mean, like, if I had kids, I would have them call a Pickle Home Companion.
And ask us wholesome questions. Yeah.
I think it's a worthwhile activity. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll see what I can do. How about having some kids?
Yeah.
It's educational to ask
Yeah,
people
it
questions.
is educational programming. I think that's where our grant funding comes from.
Yep. Oh, I've just been told
Yes.
that's been put on hold.
So I hear. Good thing we didn't make much already.
Right.
Yes, we will soldier on.
Onward, pickle soldiers.
I hope that our consistent anonymous caller finds some peace somewhere. He seems angry.
I hope so.
Quite a
Yeah.
bit.
Well, I mean, honestly, roofing all Sunday, it's pretty rough.
Has he been speaking with Kevin lately at work?
With me? He sounds like one of my landscaping customers.
Perfect.
He does.
Perfect.
All right. But keep calling, Oliver. We disagree with that take.
Hey, it's Missy. I want to know, what is your favorite 90s or early 2000s Christian music video? Thanks.
Ooh,
Bye.
I like this question.
Video.
Music video. Okay.
Because the videos were not always of high quality in terms of their production.
No,
They
definitely
were
not.
always fun. Yeah. You guys seen the video for Carmen's RIOT?
I have, but
Yes.
I mean, you know how I feel about that.
That's quite something, honestly. You know how I feel about it as well, and yet I would say that might be some of the higher production value
Oh
that's
yeah.
gone into a 90s CCM video for sure. You've got coordinated dancers that make him look like he can dance better.
Yep.
You've got people in a steam factory making steam. You've got people with chains on, right? There's like some unfair labor
There are
practices
the
happening.
chains. I forgot about that.
And in the midst of making all this steam, some of them break free and they start to praise, and that's when law enforcement shows up and takes in the oligarchs that chained everyone to the steam pipes. I think that's how it's supposed to work, right? And as far as I can tell, that's what everyone still believes. So I would say highest quality possible in a 90s CCM video.
Carmen was always good for
It's
high
pro
production.
labor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Famously, towards the end of his life, he was really all about the labor movement.
He was well known for that activism.
Yep. Yep.
Mm.
Audio Adrenaline's never going to be as big as Jesus was definitely. Somebody was talking about this one, and they shot that thing in the rain. Like they went to LA and they were like, we're going to be super big. We're going to do this rock star thing, and it was just wet, and they just had to film in the wet because that was the day that they had. That's when they had people. That's when they had their craft services or whatever, and that's what happened. It was fun. I saw that video a lot, so that's one that pops out to me as well.
I'm going to break with my usual tradition of not being able to narrow it down to one specific thing. I actually have an answer for this one.
Ooh, nice.
These Spivvies fire safety.
Uh-huh.
Have you guys seen that video?
I
No.
don't think I have.
No? Oh man, it's a fantastic video. I really enjoy that one. I'll be sure to post it.
What makes it good?
Well, it's a banger of a song, first of all, and I don't know. It's just kind of one of those like kind of clever, little bit humorous type of videos. And when I was thinking back of like going through, mostly it was like the tooth and nail ones that I was trying to think of, and I was like, well, what else is out there that's not from like the tooth and nail era? You've got the videos off of Squint that Steve Taylor did. There was some good ones on there. Like I liked the Bannerman video. That one was good. But then I remembered the fire safety video, and I said, that is my pick.
There you go. Well, I look forward to seeing it. I have the videography that Tooth and Nail released of basically all the 90s videos or up until 2002 or something.
Which I thought it was funny because they've got Squad 5 on the cover, but they don't have a video.
They don't have a Squad 5 video on the collection.
Right.
Yeah. And I also have was it a Goatee Records video collection?
Oh, really?
I think that I haven't watched yet. I do have WOW 99, 98, and maybe 97 of the VHS releases.
I forgot
that had all
those.
The music videos on them. Yeah, yeah. You buy it once and then they sell it to you again with video content. But I don't remember anything particularly. Nothing stands out to me about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Jared, what you got?
Everything that's popping in my head is not so much a favorite or even the right time. Like for whatever reason, videos that stick out are like Go West Young Man, The Great Adventure. So these are earlier. The 5 Iron Frenzy.
Curtis Chapman riding a horse, right?
Yeah, out into the great unknown, right? But maybe of this time period, the one that I recall that made me laugh is, remember the Electrics?
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Remember Get to Heaven before,
Yeah.
Better get to heaven before the devil knows you're dead or whatever.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
That was a pretty
that
good
video was always really fun, and I think that fits
I've
this
never
time
seen
period, right? No, no.
Yeah.
I was just checking. It's like it's on YouTube.
Yeah, that would have been.
But that would be the right time
late
period,
90s,
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They were a fun band, period.
They were. Yeah, I got to see them up in New Hampshire. And then got to talk with Sammy for a little bit after the show and one of the other guys too.
And they kickstarted a new project or something last year,
I was
right?
going to say
They did, yep.
they were making a new record. Yeah.
Yes.
They must be done with that by now.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. I got it. I got the record in the mail a while back at this point. Yeah.
We have one more voicemail, right? Okay, here it comes.
Hey, it's Missy again. I just wanted to call back and make sure you didn't get too distracted and actually finish answering my question. Thanks. Bye.
You'll be pleased to hear, Missy, that we did in fact speak about your question at length.
But also fair assumption.
You're right.
Like,
it's good to know that we can occasionally wander from the point.
I feel it means that she not only listens, but she hears us because she knows we frequently don't finish what we start.
Yep.
Thank you, Missy.
We'll circle back to point number 1 by Chevelle.
Also a good video.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Squids. It's Pete calling in. Hey, Pickle Peeps. Sorry I missed you this week. Feeling better. Thanks for asking. Thanks for the concern. Just wanted to call in and respond on the Squid line, like a Squid line inception, like a Squidception. 98528 Squid regarding our voicemails this week. Geez, oh me. Hey, cowboy. Slow your roll. I don't think you know what you're getting yourself into starting in with Oliver like this, okay? He's a viewer like you. You know what? We rely on his funding, and I don't think you understand what you're about to awaken. Missy, thanks for calling in about that awesome question. I have a few. I was listening to the guys' responses. Love all those videos. I had the Steve Taylor stuff. I had the Tooth and Nail. I had the Goatee ensembles. And you know what? I'm going to go with something that not many people often reference. But 11-year-old me loved this video. It's Friend Like You, Jeff Moore in the Distance, because our man Stephen Curtis Chapman, talk about saddling up your horses. He makes an appearance and they sing to each other. 1992. Awesome video. Totally 90s. And so that's in the 90s decade. Then I want to, a little more Jeff Moore, because they went to a baseball stadium in 2005, and 24-year-old me was like, I want to be there for Home Run. Like, the narrative in that video, I mean, I don't remember all the lyrics, but just I loved him in the baseball stadium. And plus, Friend Like You, reference Laurel and Hardy and Batman and Robin, was awesome. Then, all right, so Pete, write this down. I want to get Jeff Moore on the podcast. What do you think, Squids? I think we'll do it, if I can do it. Steve Taylor, Jeff Moore, all these guys I want on there. And then I'm going to go way, way, way back to the 1980s, because that was my era. I'm going to buck the trend a little bit, and I'm going to go, Is It Any Wonder by Mark Hurd, because that video is a trip. Like, if you're watching it today, that's a trip, and like they have some dancing skeleton bones and stuff. Totally awesome. So I've written down all of these music videos. I'm going to put it in the wiki, maybe, but I at least wrote them down. So the scribe is here on his sick day doing the Lord's work, doing the Squid's work. I'm here for you, and I look forward to being back with you next week. Thanks for an awesome episode. Y'all are going to love it. So just buckle up. Buckle up, cowboy. All right, Squids. We'll see you next week. Bye.
All right. Do we want to invite our guest in?
Let's do it.
I think we should.
All right.
He's in your time zone there, Brock.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
He's
joining
alone
it
tonight.
Yeah. I love that.
How about it?
Check. Can you hear me?
Yep.
We can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Hi.
Hi. You're Brock.
I am. You're
Hi.
Jeff.
Yep. I have seen
Hi.
pictures of you on the tooth and nail thing before.
Oh goodness. Yeah. It's a whole thing.
You're infamous.
I guess. Yeah. It's can't go anywhere anymore.
That's
So
funny.
dangerous.
Kevin,
Hey.
Jared, hi.
Hey, good to see you.
Yeah, I remember. I've met you before, Kevin. I remember.
Yes. Yep.
Yep.
And we do have an explicit tag on every episode just in case. So, don't worry about any of that. So,
Okay. I won't worry about being me.
perfect. That's what we want.
Cool.
Sweet. Yeah. Are we ready to kick it off? Jeff, did you have any questions before we go?
Nah, I'm good at winging stuff.
Cool.
All right. Sweet. That's what we do.
If there's anything that gets said that you're like, oh, shoot, no, actually make sure that gets cut out. That's not a problem. I can do that. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm out.
yeah,
Or you can say this is all satirical.
right.
Perfect. I'm pretty open and vulnerable and authentic, so it should be fine.
Yeah.
Why we love you, Jeff.
Sweet.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Um,
Me too.
So the other thing we do script is our intro. I wrote this down earlier. I'll read it in its entirety because I know it to be 100% accurate, correct, and a glowing review of you as a person. Jeff Bettger was born in Sterling, Colorado. After a career as a professor at SFSU, he has been selling real estate since 2000 in Chula Vista, California. While working for Prudential California Realty, his team was consistently one of the top producing teams in San Diego, winning numerous local and national awards. In 2008, he became a broker, opening his own brokerage and adding property management. In 2019, he sold his property management business and joined Remax Clarity. In 2021, he joined Caldwell Banker West to focus on helping clients buy and sell residential real estate. He is also known for his work with his band 90 Pound Wuss, Raft of Dead Monkeys, and Suffering and the Hideous Thieves. Jeff, thank you for joining us.
That's the other me.
Yeah,
It's funny. There is another me.
absolutely. I scoured the internet trying to find someone else who was also Jeff Bettger.
And there is one, and that would be mostly the other me.
Yep.
Do you get mistaken for him? Do you get calls and stuff?
I sometimes get emails. It's really interesting.
Okay,
My
yeah.
email is just letter and name, and so every once in a while, and I actually get a bill that I can't have no way of paying it. For like, but for some reason, whatever their email is must
Yeah.
be close enough to the same email that they accidentally got it entered in wrong, or they did it on
Okay.
purpose just to mess
Yeah.
with me. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's for like a toll, like a regular like
Oh yeah.
Oh, no
freeway
way.
toll
No
or
way. So,
something
like,
in
they drive up
California.
and down. Yeah. Yeah. They have like a limited access highway and you pay the bill. You don't pay it though. is
Well,
what
I
you're
don't
saying.
pay it. I just get the
Yeah,
emails for
that's
that
smart.
it's been paid. Yeah.
Never pay for an expressway you yourself did not drive on.
Right.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
I like that rule of life.
That's other Jeff's responsibility.
Just
Yeah.
start
Yeah,
responding.
totally.
Make me.
Yeah.
That's right.
That guy sounds very
Come
punk
on.
rock.
Come on up here to Port Angeles and make me.
Yeah. Port Angeles.
I got to ask you, Jeff. Port Angeles is where you're from.
Yep.
You're located in Seattle now, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why you're having the show in Seattle as opposed to PA.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We did play in 2023. We did play in Port Angeles.
That's what I
Um,
thought. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll tell you, we can talk about other things that may be more exciting. And these guys don't know because they're from the East Coast. But I'm from Washington State. I grew up outside of Tacoma, and the
Oh,
Olympic
wow.
Peninsula is like my favorite place on the planet. I think it's got everything that you want. It's got mountains, it's got the ocean, it's got vampire lore attached to a logging town.
Totally.
There's everything you want. I'm sorry about that whole thing. It got worse probably after that, but no, Port Angeles and everything else. Like I remember going across the water to Canada on the boat. That's super fun. We just did that for the most recent time in 23, I think, or 22. It's been too long now. Got to go back, but. Ozette is where I went this last summer. My
Okay.
family and I did like a 2-week trip, and we were everywhere else. And I didn't get a chance to go to Ozette, so I went back myself to run 9 miles on the Triangle.
Wow.
And I'll say that hurts. It's really hard to run on that sand and those rocks and stuff. Like there's really not for 3 miles. There's really not a good place to run, but it's one of the most remote, beautiful places in the world. So, thank you for taking care of it when you were there.
You're welcome. I mean, we did the best we could.
Yeah.
It was I moved out of there. I mean, in my 20s, I was still, 90 Pound Wuss. I think we had recorded the first album, but I'm not sure. No, we didn't. We were a band and we were playing shows on the peninsula mostly.
Okay.
And I was living yeah, that's right. When we got signed to Tooth and Nail, I was living in Port Orchard at
Nice.
a friend's house.
Yeah.
And
Easy ferry access.
yeah, to Seattle. But
Yeah.
what was I? So I was living there because I needed to get out of Port Angeles. I just didn't want to be there
Okay.
anymore. And I was
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
get over to Seattle. Teresa and I were dating. That's my wife and best friend and partner that I've been with for my whole life. So
Congratulations.
thanks. But she was going to Evergreen in Olympia.
Oh, yeah.
Evergreen State College. And
Yeah.
so Port Orchard was this opportunity for me to get a little closer to Olympia, and it didn't have the same commitments that I would have financially to move to the city. I mean, I just wanted to play music, but I ended up getting a job in Port Orchard it was the winter, and so I got a job at a place that made all the wreaths for like the White House and a bunch of other
No
places.
way.
Oh,
So
wow.
at one point, all the
They want those evergreen
Christmas,
boughs, yeah.
yeah, decorations came from this place. And what I did was the wreaths were made, and then me and like it was a small team of people had to um take them and box them and put them in this cooler. So and you had to water them down a little bit so that
Uh-huh.
when they were wrapped in plastic and in a box, they would stay fresh. And so I
Let
was
'em crisp up.
basically wet and cold all day long. It
Oh,
was
man.
terrible. And I
Isn't
remember
that
getting
Washington State? Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It was so Washington. And I remember we'd have to go to work at like some god awful time in the morning, probably like 5 or 6 a.m. or something.
That's when the
I'm
trees
like,
get up. You got to get them. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I am not an early morning person in general. I mean, I am mostly now because I have to be. I work in construction. So,
Yeah.
generally speaking, I'm at least up by 7 and I'm at work at a normal time, 8 or 9. So, but then absolutely not. It was horrible and I hated it. And when we got signed, I quit my job, which was kind of dumb because like obviously that doesn't mean it. I had no idea. I was just like, "Oh, great. We got signed. We're going to go on tour.
We're
I'll focus
taken
on
care
that."
of.
Gonna be
Yeah.
rich.
It's tooth
Yeah.
and nail money.
Yeah,
We're
whatever.
going to
I
eat
don't
burritos too. Yeah.
bean burritos at Taco Bell was a constant staple of 90 Pound Wuss on tour. That's
That's it.
100%
That's
true.
it.
Yeah.
Fueled a lot of good
Is there a
music.
Taco Bell in Shelton?
I don't know.
Like
There
back
might
then?
there
Okay.
probably not. There might
Right,
be.
right.
I don't know. That was always so that actually happened when we were playing in Olympia at the Capitol Theater before we were
Uh-huh.
on Tooth and Nail. It was actually probably the show that Brandon came to because he did actually. He came to the Capitol Theater backstage show that we played with. I think, yeah, we played with Behead the Prophet and The Lord Shall Live, who
Okay.
ended up later becoming good friends. And Joshua, the singer of that band, was on the last 90 Pound Wuss tour. He helped with that. He sold merch and helped
Yeah.
us load stuff. But we were playing with them, and that was on the way to that show. And we all had mohawks, and we pulled over, and that was literally what happened. You boys are in Shelton,
Boys are
so
in
beware.
Shelton now, so
Beware.
beware.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it made it infamously starting our first record.
That's incredible. Absolutely
It was fun.
incredible.
Yeah.
So my friend Jeremy, he lives in Alabama now, but he grew up with where I grew up in Washington, and he was the biggest, still is the biggest 90 Pound Wuss fan out there. I think he may have every release in every format at this point. I'm not sure.
Oh wow. There's not many.
But yeah. But if you just said, "Hey, Jeremy," he'd probably get a kick out of that.
Hey Jeremy, we might have even met before. I mean, there's probably like a few handfuls of people that are
Yeah.
that dedicated to 90 Pound Wuss, and generally,
Yeah.
I know them. So
Well, he was the coolest kid I knew in high school because he was hip to you guys. So conversely, you're the coolest guy he knows. So you're like my cool grandpa. Is that okay to
funny.
say?
oh, that's totally fine. I actually
Okay.
am a grandfather, so that's fine.
Yeah, I
yes.
figured because of the actuality that it would be okay for it to be a metaphor too.
Yeah, it can be a metaphor. I can be your grandfather. You know, hugs.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Say, wait, are we breaking news on this?
I guess so. Something must have happened a long time ago.
Jeff Suffering is my
Brock.
cool grandpa.
I was 14 years old. That's crazy. Okay, and the rumors are true. No.
All of
No,
them.
that's a different podcast.
Oh, yeah.
That's that other guy.
Hell of a drug.
Hi, Jeremy.
No, I could ask you questions about Washington all day, and I think probably most people want to hear more about like the art stuff.
Okay.
I'll come back with more Washington-based questions later.
Washington is beautiful, though.
I didn't realize you were a dual state guy. I thought it
Oh,
was just
really?
Oregon
The Evergreen
talk
state,
from Brock. Now it's Oregon and Washington.
Oh gosh. No,
A whole
I'm
quarter.
all Washington up until like age 18. I moved to Portland, and Portland is basically it's like it's Washington's cool little brother. So
Yeah, I like Portland a lot. We're actually, hopefully we'll play there this year, like the end. I think we're looking at something in the fall. We'll actually play in Portland.
Oh,
We've been
nice.
trying to for a while.
Very cool. We were
But
talking, I was trying to, yeah, I was going to muster some buddies about the Seattle show, but maybe I can do both.
well, I've got it, it would be months later. Like I'm thinking like October, November or something. But
Yeah.
I've become pretty good friends with Ryan from that band Help. Do you know that band Help from Portland?
That sounds familiar. I got to,
Oh, they're
yeah.
great. Yeah, I gotten to be pretty good friends with Ryan. They're like a trio,
Okay.
like a kind of a noise rock punk band. Really great.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and so I think we're probably going to play with them. The problem is I don't know where we're going to play. I really want to stick to all ages shows with 90 Pound Wuss.
Hmm.
I'm not
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
opposed to
I
just playing
respect that.
21 plus, but it feels like
Yeah.
we should try to play at a bar that will have all ages shows or a all ages place with no bar.
Yeah.
But
Totally. Yeah.
we're like too small to play like what is it, the Revolution Theater? Is that what it's called?
Right. Revolution Hall. It's a real nice place.
Yeah, it
Seems
is,
like,
but
yeah, but it's,
yeah,
yeah.
we're not that size of a band. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
we probably need to find somewhere smaller. I thinking that I don't know. We're trying a few things out. So we're playing the show in Seattle's on May 31st, and we're playing it's a place called the Black Lodge that's run by Vera. I was trying to get a larger venue, but I think this show will be super fun because it will sell out, and it's like 200 uh capacity there, and I'm pretty sure it'll sell out. So which means it'll be nice and sweaty and hot and fun.
Yeah.
That's what you want. A little
That's right.
condensation.
The walls dripping, that kind of
Yes.
vibe. It's always
Yeah, yeah.
it always makes for a nice bit of mayhem.
What, Jeff, did you play when you guys were back like in the 90s? Did you play Portland venues like Meow Meow or the Push or anything like
Yes,
that?
we played both of those. Yep.
Okay, yeah, yeah. And what the Spin Cycle was the other one. Those were all
Yeah,
like,
we must have played Spin Cycle, but I remember Meow Meow because Todd Fidel, yeah, that guy's
yep,
great.
yep, from
Yeah, he
Twin
was.
Sister. Yeah,
Yeah, I really like that guy a lot.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, he used to book us quite a bit, and so we'd play there, and so did I'm pretty sure Rafted Dead Monkeys played there quite a bit too. I don't know if
Nice.
Hideous Thieves did. It might have been closed down by then. I don't remember.
Nice. So with the shows that you've got coming up, does that mean the live vinyl is getting ready to come out?
Yeah, we're actually I'm hoping to send it off this weekend if we can get the artwork's the only thing that's it was held up on my point because there
Okay.
was something I needed to do and I kept forgetting about it, and then I was experiencing technical difficulties because
Uh,
I'm not much of an artist, and so
oh, okay.
I had to like draw some, well, write in cursive some text that was being used. I don't even know if we're going to use it, but it took me way too long to get that done. And then we also basically had yeah, hopefully it'll be out by May 31st for that show. That's the plan, is
Nice.
for that show it'll be out. It'll be very limited run. I think there's only going to be 250 copies, period.
Okay.
And the record label that's putting it out, DCPC, they specialize in putting out just live punk rock and ska albums
Yep.
and some hardcore. They're from Florida, and we got connected with them through Sean, our friend from a band in San Francisco called
Oh,
Middle Aged Queers.
yeah. Yeah, I met him
Yeah,
at
it's
Furnace Fest. Yeah, cool dude.
oh yeah, yeah, he's great, and he's on the those two of those guys in that band. I don't know if the other two are on it too, but they've been on the board at Gilman forever. So they used to do our shows back in the day there, and so we've been friends for a long time, and hopefully we'll be playing there too. What had happened was after Furnace Fest, we basically had this lull,
Mhm.
and I learned how to use Ableton Live, and like I basically went nuts and made all these songs, like these
Yeah.
demos. The all of 2024, that's pretty much I was just writing songs. And
Nice.
so nobody was really responding and engaging that much. And then me and Marty went to with our partners went to the Best Friends Forever festival that happened recently in Las
Oh,
Vegas.
yeah. Yep.
And
Yeah.
so we went there and we were hanging out the whole time. And Marty's like, "Yeah, we just really need to do this." And I said, "Okay, when we get back, see what everybody else is doing and put something on the table and just say, we want to continue. Do you guys want to or not? And then Matt ended up, before we even emailed anybody, Matt, who was playing bass and is Marty's brother-in-law, he decided that he didn't have time for it. He needed to do had some other things going on in his life. So
Mhm.
and so we just asked John, like, do you want to do this? I know it's kind of difficult and some other things for you right now, and you got a
Yeah.
lot going on. And he said, no, you have my blessing. Like, do what you want. So right now, 90 Pound Wuss is me and Marty, which we've been best friends since high school and did that band and like another band before that we were doing together and stuff. So we've always made music, and we were in marching band together. I was
Mhm.
like his section leader in the drum line. And so we, ever since he moved from California to Port Angeles, we've been like really tight. And, so it's great that we're doing this again. And, I really had fun. So basically what happened was, if John was going to continue, we probably would have spent the year, because I think it's this year is the 30-year anniversary of that Yellow record. I think
Okay.
we would have probably
Mhm.
just focused on learning every song from that and
Yeah.
just playing one show that was that record front to back,
Oh
and then
wow.
basically being done with those songs.
Okay.
That's
Calling
I
it a
think
day.
that's what we were gonna do.
Yeah.
But we're not, because that's not what's happening. So we're taking those demos and we're starting to write new songs and learn new songs, as well as learn some songs we haven't played yet from all three records.
Oh,
And
cool.
so that's going to be what we're working on. We are playing a majority of songs that we did play at the festival and the other shows we played, but
Uh-huh.
there's interspersed like hopefully at least two new songs at the Seattle show, if not three. And then we're working on like four new songs right now. But and then we have we're learning a couple. I if things work out and they sound good, we're practicing this weekend actually. So we'll see. But we might add Broken Circles, and we might add Letting Loose.
Oh,
Um,
sweet.
so
Mhm.
those songs will probably pop up if we learn them. And I think we have. So basically, Colin, who was the second guitar player from the Furnace Fest reunion
Yep.
shows, he's stuck around. He's a good friend of mine, and he lives here in Seattle too. And then we got a guy named Jason who was in the American Culture Experiments from Waco, Texas, which was a adjacent sort of uh they were a Christian hardcore band back in the day, and he moved here. I met him at MXPX a year ago. Well, New Year's Eve 2024. It wasn't actually New Year's Eve. It was the day before New Year's Eve. PX played a show, and I got to sing with him. And he was at that show. I met him then, and then a year later, I'm getting a hold of him saying, "You want to play bass in 90 Pound Wuss?" And it's pretty cool because we're not, the reason why we're doing all of this is for people that like our music and for ourselves, and that's it. So whatever, people will just have to be patient if they want to hear new stuff or whatever, because we're just taking our own sweet time. We don't, we're not planning on touring. We
Mhm.
will plan to do like festivals or fly out shows if they make sense for us to take time off work and can
Right.
actually not have a bunch of money come out from our pockets.
Mhm.
Um, in that we're trying to do an experiment. I have a hold in Denver in August, so we might be playing a show in Denver. If we can put a bill together, I think it's at the Marquee, so it's a little bit bigger venue than I want. It's like about 400, and I don't know that we can fill that. So I'm working with a guy trying to put together a bill, and if we can, we'll probably do that, because that will sort of be a test run for us to see, because it's easier to get there or to like LA, San Francisco.
Yeah.
Pretty easy to
Mhm.
get to those places and fairly inexpensive if we do it right. And we have some other opportunities that may arise, especially on the West Coast, from that if it works out. So we're going to experiment a little and see what we can do. So we might be in Denver.
Nice.
We might make it to LA. Hopefully, I'd love to play Chain Reaction again if that can work out. Probably Gilman. I don't know. There's a few punk festivals like that we're trying to get on. Like we've applied to Punk Rock Bowling. Don't know if we'll get on officially, but we might be able to get on a unofficial stage for it. And then I don't know if that'll happen. We're just looking around into it, see if it'll work out. And then
Yeah.
there's a festival in Florida called the Fest, and
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
yeah, hopefully we can get on Fest. And then what's that other one? I don't think it's in the Midwest. Maybe it's in Ohio. I don't remember, but it's Pennsylvania.
Oh right.
Um,
Oh,
we're looking into those. It would be awesome if we could get that like big Chicago Riot Fest or something, but I don't think
mhm.
we're a band that they'd even consider. So
Yeah.
we'll see. I don't know.
We've kind of had conversations about this before, but just kind of, how you're saying like, hey, we have jobs, we have lives, you got to be patient. We're not going to be out touring. We're not, we'll do shows if it makes sense. And I think what's kind of cool is, obviously as, the fan base has gotten older and older, we're all kind of in the same boat where it's like, hey, cool. New 90-pound wuss is eventually going to come out. That sounds good to me. Like, and
Yeah.
it's like, and being, older now, like, we totally get that whole, hey, there's other shit that's more important, than doing a show for like a week and a half or something like that. So like we get it and like we have the patience to be like, hey, when this happens, that'll be cool. But I'm not like, oh, I wish they would, wish they were touring all the time. Like we all get
Yeah.
it and we all now we have, we've got jobs, so we could potentially hop on a plane and fly out to these shows, if it's something that we want to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. I think that's what's pretty cool about seeing the possibilities of this stuff. It's more or less hooking up with bands and regions that will let us use their gear because
Yeah.
that's the expensive part of either renting gear or bringing our own
Yeah,
gear is pretty
yeah.
impo I mean, we
Yeah.
can bring our guitars, and then we can basically if it's a weekend, we can pretty much have like one pair of clothes and then all of our merch stuffed into our
Yeah.
bags is pretty much how it works. So there's a band that I just sang on. They asked me to sing a song. They're from Ohio. They're called All Hollowed, and they are great. And they're
Okay.
trying to figure out if it can make sense for us to come out there and maybe like drive to Chicago and some other stuff. And that would be awesome. It's just yeah, and we don't like that. That's the thing is if it's a short stint, it has to be able to like if we could play like 2 to 3 shows on a weekend, we're fine with working hard and doing long drives and coming home. That's fine with us.
Yep.
And we don't have to even make money. Like that's not our thing. It's just like we're all like pretty much blue collar and don't have a lot of, you know, anything that you have extra at this age in life is pretty much trying to go to some sort of retirement thing.
Right, right.
If I'm lucky, there's some money in there, but yeah, it's kind of crazy. So I'm really excited about working out these new songs. They kind of run the gamut too for like I mean it's interesting because I wrote all of them in my like the bass parts drum machine.
Yep.
I used a drum machine and I wrote the guitar parts and stuff, but then Collins worked with me because he's close by and refining some of the guitar parts, and we actually tweaked a bunch of songs. And so now we're in a room together playing these, and they're even taking on a different bit of direction. And the
Oh, that's
drum
cool.
parts were just like placeholders for Marty. And
Yep.
so I'm excited to see how those are coming together. And then Collins brought a couple songs to the table too now, and that's great. They sound a little bit different than some of the other stuff, but you can imagine. So basically, they run the gamut of Jeff Suffering type music. So there's some that could be like more like Hideous Thieves songs.
Hmm.
But I think I'm just going to use them all for 90 Pound Wuss because we all like it and we're like old and don't care. And this is,
Yeah.
I don't need to stick to a brand because I mean, obviously 90 Pound Wuss, like all three records sound completely different
Yeah.
anyway. So
Yep.
who cares?
The
Like, let's
brand is
just do what we
expanding.
want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask that, where you spent all that time and we're just, like working on all these demos. Like when we were at Furnace Fest and we were talking, you had mentioned, like, maybe I'll do some new Raft stuff. Maybe I'll do some, more Hideous Thieves stuff. I was wondering if any of those demos you think might kind of head that way, but it sounds like you're saying, nah, we'll just use them for 90-pound wuss, which is cool because I love
Yeah.
the sound of all of those bands. So
Cool. It was for a minute I was confused about it and well, I wasn't sure and then I actually did one rehearsal with a group of people that was probably going to be an iteration of Hideous Thieves, and I just it was just after that Best Friends Forever festival, and Matt
Mhm.
had just quit 90 Pound Wuss, and I'm just thinking, well, all of a sudden 90 Pound Wuss became active again because we weren't active for like a year, so I was getting frustrated. So I'm like, they say they want to do this, and then Marty and I talked, and we were like, well, what do we do? So that kind of got put on the back burner, and I just decided let's just use whatever we want out of this pool of songs that I have for 90 Pound Wuss, and we'll see. Maybe there will be some we don't use that seems more appropriate for something else later, and I'll come back
Yeah.
to them. But I think that they're right on the cusp enough to be either one. They're more like the aggressive side of Hideous Thieves,
Okay.
and the ones that sort of sound like that. There's one that I'm questionable. In general, it's not like there's a few that I think are really, really, really good, and then the rest are like there's bits and pieces, and I'm curious to see what everybody else will want to do with them. Um,
Yeah, and like you said, like once you get everybody else working with you, it might morph into something completely different, like as everybody kind of puts their own touches on it.
yeah, totally. What happened was, it's been so long. Like all my youngest child is 14, so and the older two are quite. There was an age gap, so the older two are both adults now. So I had this all this time of just working, and that was it. And I hadn't played music in a long time. And then simultaneously, the opportunity from Furnace Fest came up. The desire was already starting to cook a little bit in me to see what the possibility would be. I never thought it would be 90 Pound Wuss. I just never did. I thought if I did another band again, it would for sure either be completely new or it would be Suffering in the Hideous Thieves because that was always like my band.
Yep.
And whoever played in it when they did. Seth was always in it, the violin player. He was always in it from the beginning to the end. But he was the only one. So he would have been in this iteration too. But yeah, I never thought it would be 90 Pound Wuss, and so it's really fun that it is because 90 Pound Wuss was probably out of all the bands that I've done and been in, we did the most and had the largest fan base, I guess, whatever. Like it's not like it's big or anything, but
Mhm.
there's a couple hundred people that really like our band, and that's really cool. So I want to also like honor that too. That's why
Right.
we're definitely playing songs from the first record, and I've learned. I used to be kind of embarrassed of that record, but now I'm not at all. I just it is what it is, and there's some songs that I think are
Yeah.
super corny that I probably don't really want to play, but I might,
Mhm.
given the circumstances.
Right.
I
In,
appreciate that
in
approach.
yeah, yeah. In general, like that record might not be our favorite thing or whatever, but it doesn't really matter. There's people who liked it and it resonated and it meant something to them, and those songs are fun. So it doesn't. Yeah, I think I've grown less pretentious, but I was also starting to discover all these new punk rock bands and like hardcore bands at the same time all this stuff was happening. So it's kind of cool because my musical tastes, I've been really into like Scal and that band
Yeah.
Gel and
Hmm.
a lot like spaced out, like a lot of female fronted hardcore and punk bands in particular, like Capra. I really like them.
Yep.
Um, there's a bunch of bands lately that are just really interesting and um, good, and I really like how they sort of blend a bunch of different genres, kind of, and they're not so. Nobody seems very very like. I've never been a punk purist, obviously, from any of our records. I
Yeah.
always kind of was always into, we would be into Discharge and Conflict and Crass and stuff like that while simultaneously being into Bauhaus and The Cure and Dead Can Dance or something, right? So
Yeah.
when Spalding joined the band, he brought a whole nother element because his favorite guitar player in the world was Eddie Van Halen. So he
That's a
he
shift.
he liked Van Halen and AC/DC and Led Zeppelin,
Yep.
and I was starting to at that point, since I was living with Doug Lorig, I was starting to open up to the idea of that being cool. And I just always liked music, but growing up, like I hated classic rock because I was pretty much bullied by jocks and rednecks
Hmm.
for being a punk pre-Nirvana. That was kind of how it worked out. And then as soon as Nirvana got popular, I remember going to school like the next day, and all of a sudden everybody thought I was way into grunge, um, just because oh, like he's got funny hair like all those people in those videos, like the cheerleaders or whatever. I don't know. So whatever. And so it changed, and suddenly I wasn't bullied anymore. But that was like my junior or senior year or something. So most of my life was spent being called names because I rode a skateboard and looked funny. Um, we always liked music, but I didn't like classic rock specifically because I had a bad taste in my mouth because all the guys with their big pickup trucks in Port Angeles listening to AC/DC and Led Zeppelin and all
Hmm.
that stuff. But later, once I was around Doug, I had a new appreciation. He made me once listen to on a roadside tour when I roadied for him. He made me once listen to on headphones Tool's Enema record all the way from the beginning all the way through the end while we were driving, and was like, okay, this is good. It's really good. I admit I like it. Things like that started happening, and I mean, basically, I probably love every genre of music. It's just I'm picky about what band.
Yeah.
There's things I definitely am not a metal fan, and so you won't hear much of that influence in 90 Pound Wuss probably ever, or anything I really do. I don't dislike metal, don't get me wrong. Like I love Zayo. I've always
Hmm.
loved Zayo. They're
Yeah.
freaking great. And I always
Hmm.
liked, bands like Botch and Converge and stuff like that. But in general, um, you know, I I listen to. I have a neighbor that I work out with, and he likes metal a lot. So I've heard like Infant Annihilator and all the, you know, what's that, Lorna Shore and like all the really fast
Uh,
stuff. So I'm familiar with it, and it's
Yeah.
fine. I just
But you
not.
love that for them, not for you.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not
Right.
interested in playing it, and I'm not interested in ever doing that with my voice. I'm
Right.
just not.
Right.
Never have been.
Yeah.
So
That was cool right there. That was fun, but I have a hard time seeing it mixed with the rest of the stuff.
C is for cookie.
Yeah, exactly.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's there when you're ready. Wait till you're in your 70s, and then that's
Yeah,
the
maybe that'll
phase.
work then.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully I'll be more like Tom Waits or something. I can do the same rasp but different.
Yeah.
That guy got cooler and cooler the older he got, right? Like yeah, I mean he's still cool. That's
Uh-huh.
great. We should all
Amazing.
be so lucky.
It's a
Oh,
good
totally.
strategy. Yeah.
He's got such a weird style. It's so unique.
Yeah, yeah. He's carved out his. I bet he got beat up in high school. I bet
He
he
might
like,
have.
Yeah.
I bet nobody understood what he was up to. And look at him now and look at them. Like
Yeah.
what do they got to show for themselves? They all like Tom Waits.
Wish he'd
Yeah.
come to the reunion.
Yeah, he's so good. Uh, I yeah, I know that my voice is kind of unique, and a lot of people don't necessarily like but I really like to try my best, and I do have fun singing and writing lyrics and that.
Yeah,
I
and that's
do
half
like
the
it.
battle right there, right? Like if you're
Exactly.
enjoying it, then people show up for it.
It's pretty much all that matters. Yeah.
What about
Well,
ska? You think 90 Pound Wuss would ever venture into the ska area?
This is really funny that you say that.
there's a ska record in 2025.
I don't think we'll adventure into the ska area, but I do think that there's a little bit of definitely like appreciation for reggae, like deep reggae bass lines that are just
Uh-huh.
so
Ooh.
like they're kind of the best bass
So
lines in
deep.
the world. They're
Oh yeah.
so good, especially
Yeah.
that like when they have like harmonics and stuff that make it all low and crazy.
Uh-huh.
That stuff's good. I love dub music. I mean,
Mhm.
I like post punk. So there's tons of Bauhaus, like She's in Parties. That's a reggae song. It's just all
Mhm.
messed up and weird. And or like
Yeah.
same thing with like the very first song on the first Public Image Limited record. Like Jaw Wobble
Uh-huh.
definitely plays that kind of bass style, like influenced by
Yeah.
reggae and the Clash. So I mean, it's definitely there. Ska. I am a fan of the Specials and always have been. I really
There we
like
go.
Desmond Decker and like the old
Yeah.
60s Jamaican stuff a lot.
Uh-huh.
So
Yep. You're a purist. You go farther back you go, the better it gets.
usually
Yeah.
I think that there's probably some newer artists. I'm just not familiar with the genre these days that does that. But I wasn't a huge fan of the stuff that was existent when we were doing it. Not that any of those bands were bad or anything. I'm just not It just
Of
wasn't
course.
my jam.
Right.
I
we
mean, I
have
do.
to say that because of our overlords. We have to it's kind of puff them up
We
and
have
be
to pay
like,
homage,
ska
yeah.
was great. Five Iron and the Insiders were great. They were fun. They had a lot of good songs. They had great tone. Yeah.
I know Lenore from Five Iron, and I like her a lot.
Yeah.
I
Nice.
do think that they're a good band and they're strong and solid. I would love to play with them sometime again. But
Hey, maybe that Denver show.
yeah, I talked about it. They're kind of holding off to play with some local ska bands. They said so,
Nah.
Yeah.
which makes sense because
Yeah.
she was saying that they don't get to do that very often. I think we might. Hopefully, we'll find somebody there. There's a few leads on some stuff, but I do like one of my favorite bands was from Denver, like that band Angel Hair that later became the VSS. Super
Okay.
huge, like crazy San Diego spazzy hardcore thing.
Yeah.
And Sonny K was he was in that. He was the singer of that band. I like that stuff. I don't know. I think we'll find something. It'll be fun. Uh, it's funny that you say that because there is like just last night, me and Colin were freaking out on this like YouTube channel that is just this guy with these big dreadlocks and a bass and like a
Okay.
joint hanging out his mouth and smoke just
There you go.
emanating
Yep.
and
Yep.
he's just playing reggae bass lines. And we
All
were like,
right.
Oh, wow.
we kept on sending them back and forth to each other, going, "This one's sick." So I find it funny that it was just last night that happened. So I
Yeah.
think it's
So don't write it off. It could happen.
it could.
a
It's
big place.
quite
Like you say,
possible.
90-pound Wuss is a big tent. There's a lot of room for a lot of different things happening there right now.
Yeah, and Jason's old
And
band had some ska adjacent kind of influence stuff. It was a little
literally anything could
darker.
happen. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
could
I
it
love
could
it.
be possible.
There's nothing wrong with dark ska.
I don't know. We'll see. It would. I don't know very much. Is Voodoo Glow Skulls dark ska? Maybe.
Sure.
Oh.
Why not?
I don't know.
That could fit.
Yeah.
I do love the specials though. They are
Yeah,
so
yeah,
good.
for
Yeah.
sure.
And I do like Op Ivy and I do like Rancid.
Yup.
I do.
Yup.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Rancid isn't a ska band, but they have those
Right.
elements.
Yep.
Mhm.
Right. Well, you could argue like maybe it is, maybe it isn't, maybe some of it is, maybe some of it doesn't have to be. Who knows?
Yeah.
We're all over the place here.
We are all over the place here. But those bass lines, though, that's all I have to say is reggae
That's
bass
what
lines
keeps you. That's
are the
what
best in
grounds
the
us.
world.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think even in like nostalgia on 90 Pound Wuss at the end, I think that could almost be a reggae bass line if you
There we
did it a
go.
little bit. There's some stuff going on there. I think
Yeah.
I think when I write music, I would say that I would be more inclined on the bass to write something that's more reggae adjacent than I would like jazz adjacent.
Nice. Nice. I think there's hope here.
I think the
There is.
seed has been planted in your subconscious. Yeah.
I think we're gonna be a ska band. Our next release, we're gonna be a ska band. That's
I
it
think
now.
you're gonna sit
We're
down.
on to the sixth wave, and it's finally come around that 90 Pound Wuss will change entirely.
I think you're gonna sit down to write some new music. It's just gonna come out.
Yes.
That's
I mean, you
right.
did say
Yeah.
you change on every album, and
We
it's just
do.
the angle no one saw
Yeah.
coming.
I just
Yeah.
need a few
Yeah.
like upbeats. I think we can do that.
That's
It's
it.
in your
That's it.
subconscious now. You're not gonna be able to escape it.
Now you'll
It's
hear
plant-
any of
it's
our new
planted.
stuff, and all of you will filter it through a ska lens and go like, "Yep, we were right. We were right. That is
Yes.
There's an upbeat right there."
We're just gonna send it back and forth with a "Is it ska?" question mark.
Right.
There we go. That's yep, and that'll be the question. That'll be the only question we have.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then we're gonna start internet fights about it. Yeah.
Oh, you should.
We can just send it to the ska mailman. Like he does that segment on his videos. Like, does it ska? We just send
Oh,
it.
that's
There we go.
awesome. That's
We're
so
going
good.
straight to the internet now to argue that 90 Pound Wuss was always a ska band. You just couldn't hear it. 'Cause you
Always
weren't looking,
was,
listening
always will be.
appropriately.
Right.
Oh, that's
That's right.
Yeah, you have to listen
Heard it
to it
here first.
appropriately.
That's
And then you like
right.
slow down the music or something and like mess it up. Play it
We're gonna be so-
backwards.
We're going to be so convincingly earnest that people are going to fake their hearing of it because they want to be cool too.
And now purposefully I'm going to find some horn players and just like put some horns
Yeah.
on the next record
Yeah.
for sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Re-record some of the old songs in a new style.
Oh yeah, that could work.
Yeah.
Perseverance, but instead of downbeats, upbeats.
30th anniversary.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, just
Easily.
a whole new issue.
That would be great.
The ska version.
That'd be awesome.
Jeff, I messaged my friend Jeremy, who's the big fan, and he had a couple of questions for you, if that's
Okay.
okay.
Yes, of course.
One was, well, I'll start with the easy one, maybe. Does your family still make candles?
Yes, we still make candles. We make
Okay.
candles. That's our side business. The suffering candle.
Okay, where do we get them? Yeah.
Jeffsuffering.com.
Okay. All right then.
Suffering candles.
Sounds good. I'll
That's
point in
funny.
that direction.
That's
He
awesome.
says his first question was, is that still a thing, and where can we buy some? So yeah.
So never was. No, you can't. But
Yeah.
yeah.
No, we were talking a little bit about what's happening with future music. We've been talking about that. We'll probably keep talking about it. It involves ska. We know that.
Yep.
But the other question he had was, what do you recall about the This Suffering project and the resulting cassette?
Oh, that was me and Teresa and our friend James and some songs I wrote on keyboards and drum machines and bass. And we just probably graduated high school. And Caleb from Boot to Head, I had met him and he wanted to do something. And I think he helped me in some way put out that cassette. I don't remember unless I just Xerox copied it and recorded it. We made it on a four
Yeah,
track in a living room in the house we lived in.
nice. Real
That's
ones
it.
know. Is that so we're not sure if it was a boot to head release or just self-released?
It wasn't a boot to head release,
Okay,
but he might have helped me by
sure.
I don't remember exactly what he
He
did,
knew a
but he did
duplicator or something.
he
Yeah.
did put one of those tracks on a comp.
Did
That
he?
is for sure. So there
Hmm.
is a boot to head comp with This Suffering on it. And
Okay, off the Discogs again. Here we go.
that's where the Jeff Suffering moniker comes from.
Yeah,
It's from because we lived in a house, we called it House of Suffering.
nice.
I guess it's kind of after Bad Brains, but
Hmm. Yeah.
we also just thought it was funny because we were way into goth and thought it was ridiculous, like the Ramones to have like a punk name.
Yeah.
And so there was Jeff Suffering and James Suffering. Teresa
I love it.
didn't go by Suffering.
Well, you weren't married
So
back then.
no, we weren't, and she still wouldn't.
Yeah. Either way.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Here, you know what? There's a listing on Discogs. It says Dead Records is the label.
Then I
Um,
must have put it out myself then.
yeah. And it's got 4 songs: Dreams I See More Clearly, Blackened, Shattered Images, and Crevice.
That's right. Oh, Crevice
I
was
love
a
it.
song that the band that Marty and me and Teresa and James, our friend Drew, we had this big industrial goth band that we used to be in high school, and it was one
Oh
of the
yeah.
songs that we used to play then. And I think I repurposed it with a drum machine and stuff. And yeah, that band was really we were called what was that band? Oh, Systematic. The band was called
Okay.
Systematic. And we had like we built this drum set out of like old oil barrels and like steel pipes and like saw blades and stuff. And we'd play that and then Marty played a drum set. We had a guitar player, we had a violin player. Yep, that's This Suffering. It's a cassette that doesn't exist and it's really terrible. So
Hey, those are
yeah.
the best kind.
Yeah. It's I think my dad has a copy. I think that's
Okay.
about the only copy around here that I know of. Maybe James has one. I don't know.
Okay. So now it's off to the phone book to find your dad. So I can kind of offer him like, hey, there's this message that the world needs to hear. And
Look
Jeff,
for
pull that out.
Mr. Suffering. Yeah,
I mean,
you'll
geez,
find him.
maybe I could get him to like digitize it or something and put it on Bandcamp if somebody wants to hear it, but it's pretty bad.
Oh man, people would go nuts about it.
Brock would prefer a dubbed copy.
That's
Yes,
probably
yes,
better.
absolutely. I'd like mine on Memorex, please. Yeah.
Oh
On
yeah,
cassette,
maybe we
yes.
could get it recorded to 8-track somehow.
Yeah, easily that would be the best. The preferred format would be an arcane one.
There's this like bar down the street from me. I live in this neighborhood in South Seattle called South Park.
Oh, dude, I love that
Come
place.
on, the jokes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Come on down.
Gonna have a lot of fun, yeah.
But there's this place called Loretto's Northwesterner, and they used to have an Airstream out back, and
Uh-huh.
it had an 8-track in it, and they had these 8-track, like a whole thing of 8-tracks. And so we'd go in there and get our beer and go hang out and just listen to all these old 8-tracks in this Airstream
Yeah.
trailer. It was so rad. I wish that they
That's
got really
incredible.
popular for a while because they have this like pretty decent like simple burger and it got written about, and so I stopped going there because it was always busy with people outside of the neighborhood. Whereas
Yep.
before it used to be like our place to go in the neighborhood.
Yep.
Sorry
Yep.
about
It's
that.
the worst when like a cool spot becomes like a too cool spot.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you can't fault them for one to be successful, and you can't fault them for doing something cool. But
No, it's just
you know,
I couldn't even find a place to sit, so
yep,
Yeah.
there was no place.
yep,
Then
flies and honey. There they go.
yeah, I found a new place anyways. I go to this
Yeah, there you go.
there's this bar in the neighborhood I work in, which is the neighborhood right next to us. It's called Georgetown, and they
Uh-huh.
have this amazing vegan punk bar. So
Ooh,
everything on the walls is all like uh either paintings. Well, they're mostly paintings. There's some photographs, but it's all like classic punk icons. So like the Damned, the Ramones, Susie Sue,
Oh,
Lydia
nice.
Lunch, like whoever. It's all these people all the way around, and all they
that's
play
fantastic.
is like classic punk. And I'm talking like I think I know punk rock, and I go in there,
Yeah.
and every time I go in there, there's like a third of the music I for sure don't know what it is.
And they're like, you don't know who this is? Get out.
Yeah, totally. But they also make all they do sandwiches, and it's a vegan
Uh-huh.
restaurant, and so it's all
Yeah.
fake meat, and they make
I
it
was gonna
all
say
there
they
from
got like deli
scratch.
slices and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but they make it from scratch though, so that's what's awesome is none of it's like
Okay.
field roast or anything, which
Yeah.
is actually right down
Yeah.
the street from
Right.
there anyway. But they yeah, they make it all from scratch, and I really enjoy that place. Yeah, they have the best happy hour too. So
That's incredible. Can we name it on the show here? Can we
yeah,
say
it's
what
called
it is?
Georgetown Liquor Company.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's my bar.
And so now it's going to be overrun with pickle and boot home shop companion folks. Just like,
That's right.
there'll be so many of them you can't find your way in. Well, I'll apologize now.
Yeah, because they're all vegan eaters, and they're all into classic punk old.
Yes, yes. More than anything else. More than anything else. You're just like everybody that listens to this show, super into that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, the days are numbered.
You'll probably hear when I go there. I hear like Rudimentary Peni. I hear Dead Kennedys. They'll play Circle Jerk songs. They'll play. Sometimes there's a Crass song that comes up, but there's lots of Crass limited edition artwork on the walls. And what else do they play some? They have a great playlist, but it's all the stuff that I never really got into that I don't know as much, like the sort of Stiff Little Fingers type style.
Oh,
Like
okay.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
bands like that I don't know. Basically English Sex
Hmm.
Pistols era bands that kind of
Uh-huh.
sound like that,
Hmm.
like the Clash or Sex Pistols, kind of. And I just don't know them. There's so many of them. I have no idea.
I love it.
Crazy.
There
That's a
was
good spot.
I
Yeah.
used to
Yeah.
live in Portland across the street from a place that had like great vegetarian and vegan options, and it was kind of a punk bar. It was maybe more of a hardcore thing than punk, but I think they kind of served all types. They're still around, so if you ever get to Portland, the High Water Mark is where you
Okay.
go.
High water mark. It sounds
Yeah, when
great.
I moved in, I lived across the street from them for like a year, maybe a bit more. And when I moved in at happy hour, it was $1.50 for a pint of Rainier. It
Oh
was
my
just the
gosh.
best deal you could ever get.
Mm.
I would go in and get, a pint of Rainier and a shot of Crow, and I'd walk out with $8 left in my pocket or something. It was great.
Oh,
So,
that's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like the happy hour there. They do it right now. It's not that good, but right now it's the best in
Uh-huh.
town in my
Yeah.
opinion. It's 7
Don't everybody come
bucks,
at once.
and
Yeah.
you get either it used to be Rainier, but they stopped. They got this other brand like that's a Pacific Northwest beer, but it's either that beer or you can have the Douglas Lager on tap, which the Douglas Lager is a newer beer, but they're using the original Olympia recipe.
Oh, really?
And so it's $7 with that, and then any well shot you want on the rocks or
Okay.
not or whatever. So a Boilermaker
It's not
basically
bad.
for
Yeah.
$7 in Seattle, that's a great deal. Like
How
because it's
about that?
a
Yeah.
tall boy or a full pint of beer, and depending on the bartender, your shot's probably not going to be a little bit more than a shot.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah. They know how it's done.
Exactly.
Anywhere else you're walking away, it's like $20 or something.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
so their happy hour. That's what started me going there and the punk rock, but
Yeah.
I'm not drinking right now, so they do have a
There you
great
go. Me neither. We're just talking about it.
sweet.
Yep.
How great. How great is
I'm-
drinking? Am I right?
Right.
I know, I totally miss it. But I'm trying to go for not just January. I'm trying to go for 3 months. So
Are
Oh,
you?
wow.
Okay. Because I'm
Yeah,
doing 2025. I'm doing the whole
the
year.
whole year. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Great. We
gonna
get to claim
suck.
Edge. No,
That's right.
That's
Absolutely. Yeah.
right.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that's awesome.
Yeah, you don't have to 86 me. I have 86 myself.
Yeah,
Thank you.
totally. Exactly. There you go. Yeah, they have a great non-alcoholic list too there, and so I've been discovering some of those. Like the beers are okay. I actually like the hop waters better than
Oh
like
yeah. I
a
Mm.
fake
was gonna
beer.
say,
Hop
what's your
water's tasty,
preference?
yeah.
Like, do you have one at the top?
I like the Holy Mountain one.
Okay.
It's
Oh.
called Holy Water, and then I do like the Lagunitas
Mhm.
hop water. That one's
Yeah.
good too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think Lagunitas is so far the one that I like the best.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like that one. And then
Yeah, their non-alcoholic beer sucks ass. It's the worst thing I've ever had.
the
But the Lagunitas Hoppy Refresher, so good.
the best non-alcoholic beer I've had recently since I've been doing this was the Deschutes one. They have an IPA that's
Oh,
actually really good. I was like, wow, this
Ooh,
actually tastes like
really?
beer.
I gotta
Yeah.
check that out. I don't
Hmm.
like their politics, so I don't buy a lot of their stuff. But they are the best in the business when it comes to flavor.
Yeah, they do have good flavor. I don't know anything about their politics, so maybe I
You
wouldn't like it
probably
either.
don't want
But
to.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Sounds like I won't. I'll ignore it. The other stuff I've been into is like some of the non-alcoholic spirits. I really like that one, the Pathfinder. It's like an Amaro, so it's kind of tastes like
Mm.
Coca-Cola meets Fernet.
Oh,
So it's like an elixir. It has all this like earthy flavor like Fernet Branca does, but it's a little bit like Coca-Cola. It's
There
crazy.
you go.
I've been getting sponsored ads on like Instagram for that stuff because we've had a lot of conversation actually about NA like beers and things. So
For sure.
I haven't gone full dry, but I drink the NAs to like in between, just to space things out and to have an option because I like the ritual of a non-water beverage basically. But I haven't tried the liquors really, and that's where I'm curious, like the spirits of like the non-alcoholic, and so the Pathfinder. It's worth trying.
I think the Pathfinder's really good. I think it's
Okay.
better if somebody has a strong cocktail and they use some of that stuff and they're actually good at making cocktails. Like some of the cocktail bars that do NA stuff, they're great, but then it ends up jacking the price up a whole bunch, and that's
Mm.
the problem. That it's
Okay.
it's it's irritating because I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm paying $11 for
To
this
not get
drink.
wasted. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It's kind of like,
Give me water, please.
what in the world? I mean,
Yeah.
it's like having one is great, but if they could figure out a way to like make them less than alcohol drinks, I don't know how that if anybody
Yeah.
would do
Yeah.
that, but
Yeah.
it's probably expensive to make that stuff because you have to distill it without having it ferment and turn into liquor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably not easy.
For 20
I-
bucks, you get yourself 2 flats of Kirkland Signature sparkling waters. And
Yeah,
then you got
totally,
3 flavors to
exactly.
choose from.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There you go. You can do lime, lemon, or what's the other one? There's a
Pomegranate. No, grapefruit.
grapefruit. That's
Yeah.
right.
Green, yellow, and pink.
Yep, that's right. It's been a minute since I've bought one of those, but those are great. We used to drink those all the time here. Sparkly
Yeah.
fizzy
It's easy
water.
to crush like 5 or 6 of them in a day. It's great.
Yeah, I wonder if I don't know the science around that, but I wonder if they'll find out that the bubbles in it like cause cancer or something.
I bet they do. I bet they do. Bet your bottom dollar, 100%.
Just like everything else.
Something is wrong with those bubbles. They are harsher bubbles than other. Like if you get some LaCroix, the LaCroix bubbles are real small and dainty. You open
They're
up the
soft.
Kirkland Signature, they're like harsh, and that's kind of why I like it.
Ah. Yeah, they're gonna like do something, tickle your throat a little.
Yeah, I want to get a little bit beat up by my bubbly water.
That's so awesome.
They're not going to deliver
great.
full flavors, so they might as well punch you with the bubbles. That makes
Right.
sense.
That's right. Punch me
Yeah.
in the throat. If not with hops,
Yeah.
with bubbles, with
That's
CO2.
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do like the hop. That's what's amazing about the hop water is it literally tastes like you're drinking La Croix or something like that, but with
Yeah.
Yeah.
hops instead of
Yeah.
lime.
hmm
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
At least reminds you of beer.
Kevin, what's the one from Furnace Fest? Who was making the NA there?
That was Mash Gang, which I'm actually.
That's right.
I got a Mash Gang NA beer with
Love
me
it.
tonight.
Nice. I do remember they were giving those away
Yeah.
in 2023.
Yeah.
Was that the year that you're talking about?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Wasn't it some guy from England?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I
Yeah.
remember having a conversation with them about that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That festival was so much fun. I'm so glad that we got to do that. That
Oh,
was
that was such a great
such an
time.
experience.
Would you do it
Yeah.
again?
100%. Yeah, I actually,
Okay.
I asked, and hopefully we'll figure something out sometime this year or
There we
next
go.
year.
Okay, because I haven't dropped a list yet, right? We're still doing
Yeah.
wish list Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Yeah, mention us.
We don't have tickets or anything. There's no activity
Is it
yet
real?
that
What
we
if
can.
what if they're saying there's going to be one and then there just isn't?
Right.
Oh yeah, the opposite of what happened last time.
It's an elaborate practical joke.
It's a double cross.
Then I guess I'm just taking a vacation down to Birmingham because I've already got my hotel.
Seriously.
So.
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Gonna go to that back 40 brewing.
You just
Oh,
go to the
yeah.
sloths anyway. We'll walk around with your phone
Yeah.
playing.
I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to play that again. That was so much fun. That was a great. I'm so glad those guys do that. It was really cool. It was awesome. I mean, how lucky we got to play the same year as freaking Youth of Today and Judge. Like that was so
Yeah.
sick.
That
Yeah,
bill was
that was
stacked that
pretty
whole
rad.
year. Well, every year's like stacked
Yeah.
in its own way. But yeah, it's
Except
so
for this
cool what
one
they
so
pull
far.
off.
Except for this one, yes. We'll see who's playing.
Yep.
Mm.
It'll be just us. We like show up and nobody's there.
All weekend long.
We'll be there.
What?
And we've got our petition going to get Squad 5-0 there too. So
Ooh, that would be
Yeah.
fun.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, if we build, could we just build our own Furnace Fest schedule based on the people we've talked to? I think that'd be probably the most prudent way forward at this point.
I think so.
Yeah,
I mean,
do it.
everyone's
sure.
played it, so there's no reason not to play it again.
That's
It'd be a
right.
great,
Yeah.
it'd be a great lineup of everyone we've talked
There's no
to.
shame in it. No shame at all.
No.
Let's do it.
Wish I could get the Blood Brothers there.
You and a lot of other people, I feel like.
Yeah.
They've been a big request, yeah.
I went to 5 of those reunion shows.
Did you really?
I did, because we went to the Best Friends Forever. They did a one-off up here at the place that we're playing called the Black Lodge. And it was sort of like they announced the same day, but I knew it was happening. Johnny told me that they were going to be doing it. So I went to that, and then I went to the 2 shows that they did at the Showbox and one in Portland. It was super
Wow,
fun.
that's cool. Yeah.
I had a busy week, the Portland one, because I drove there and then came back and then went to the 2 up here. Yeah, I mean, we used to like be pretty tight back in the day, so it was cool to see everybody again. And yeah, I really like that band. I think that they did something that is so unique and just not like anything else. It reminds me of like something super unique, kind of like Nick Cave's old punk band, The Birthday Party, like just totally doesn't fit in the realms than anything else really going on. Or like Albini's old band, Big Black, like just kind of it fits all the stuff that was happening, but so different than everything else that it stands out. That's how I feel about the Blood Brothers. Anyways, I could go on. I think that the last 2 records they did are some of the best, like, punk adjacent kind of things ever. I'm a fan. Yeah, I think another thing that's been going on is for 90 Pound Wuss, I had to rent a rehearsal space so that we could have somewhere. Because Marty's the only one living in Port Angeles now that's in that band. So I guess we're looking for another guitar player. We may have found one finally, but we've gone through a number of people. Because at first we were really trying to find somebody that wasn't gonna just be another middle-aged white guy, and that was a little difficult for us to like. As soon as the list became including middle-aged white guys, the list became really big.
Right.
But before
Big
that,
list,
it wasn't very. It was
Right.
like hard to find who's a woman that might play in 90 Pound Wuss or somebody else, and it was rather difficult. But I asked around, so we did our due diligence to be DEI. But so we're looking for another guitar player. But anyway, in that process, I was like, if we're going to play it, we need a rehearsal space, and I'm not going to pay for a rehearsal space in Seattle at these ridiculous prices to practice once a month, because that's basically what we do. We do once a month on a weekend, and it's like a long day. Like, I can't talk when we're done. It's pretty
Yeah.
brutal. It's like 6
lot of
to
work.
8 hours usually. Yeah,
Oh,
and
wow.
then so Marty drives up. We practice during the afternoon, but it's turned out really good. But because of that, I put another group together, and hopefully we'll continue playing because it's been fun. It's me and Matt Johnson and Doug Lorig and
Oh,
No way.
Ed from
Wow.
Blenderhead.
Oh,
How about
So
that?
from Blenderhead and Don't Know, and we're looking for a singer in that band. Doug and I are not. We decided we do our other things. Let's have somebody else sing.
Yeah.
Then we can just play music. But I've been really having fun. So I've been playing bass and that, and we've been practicing every week for months now, and we have 4 or 5 songs, something like that. It's pretty fun.
That's awesome.
That's great. And you've got a space for that then.
I do. My neighbors next door to my house, 2 of them that live next door are in this band called Held Scala. They're a Seattle,
Okay.
like they're kind of Neurosis influenced, like Viking metal rock, I
Oh,
guess
wow.
is how I'd say it. They're really good. They're excellent actually. And they were just like, yeah, dude, we'll just rent you this space as like a fifth member of our band. So they totally hooked me up and helped me out to put
That's
this
super cool.
together.
That's
And now that
awesome.
we're doing
Nice.
it regularly, we're splitting the room with them. But
Yeah.
yeah, they're super
Nice.
good. That band's great. If you like Neurosis influence type metal stuff, you should check out Held Scala. They're really good.
You have to go across town for this practice space, or is it kind of in your
Yeah,
area?
it's in Ballard, but
Okay.
Hmm.
it's
Ballard's cool, but
yeah,
it's a ways away.
it's a bit usually we start around 6:30, so it takes maybe 20 minutes to get there. It's not too terrible.
Everybody's going the opposite direction.
Yeah, I mean Doug lives on the peninsula now. He lives over in like Paulsbo. So
Okay.
he actually works for the ferry company.
Where they
So
make the
the
bread.
Washington State Ferries, he works for the state.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
actually their union rep for
Oh,
Oh,
the
really?
wow.
ferry people. He's like yeah, so he is in their offices are in Ballard. So he's
Yeah.
in Seattle a couple times a week,
Well, that's
and
all
then
right.
he doesn't have to
Yeah.
pay for the ferry, obviously. So
Yeah,
it
of
works out
course.
pretty good. Ed lives up north, and me and Matt both live down. Matt lives in West Seattle right now, and I live in South Seattle. So it works out pretty
There you
good.
go.
Like Ballard's sort of North Seattle, but like just the beginnings of North Seattle, so it's not too bad. Um,
Yeah.
they also have you guys heard? I don't know if you're a big fan of like Roadside or
Mhm.
the stuff Doug's done with me, like Raft, but Doug's band
Mhm.
Calm Collapse is excellent. If you haven't heard them, you should check them
Yeah,
out.
that's good stuff.
It's really good. And those guys in that band are in other bands. Rob's in some classic Midwest emo band that what are they called? They were around during the time back then, and they have so many records out, but they put records out on that Spartan record label, the same as Unwed Sailor and Calm Collapse. But
Okay.
Rob the drummer's in like a bunch of different bands, and another one that he's in is called what are they called? Not Medicine Bows. That's the bass player in Doug's band's in another band called Medicine Bows. But Museum of Light, that band's
Yep.
great. They're excellent, and those guys are so good.
Oh, Train Dodge. He was in Train
Train
Dodge
Dodge,
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's Rob's band. Yeah, Train Dodge. But yeah, that Museum of Light band. So last weekend was Holy Mountains, like the brewery. It was like that's
Mhm.
a brewery here in the Northwest. It was their 10-year anniversary, and they had this huge show, and it was Blackwater Holy Light from Portland headlined, and then Sandrider played. But the opening bands were my neighbors, Held Scala, and then Museum of Light, and it was so good. It was like I've seen those bands quite a number of times, and this was the best I've seen them. They were just phenomenal.
That's
So
awesome.
whatever they're doing now, like those 2 bands are like great Seattle bands.
Very
There's
cool.
a lot of great Seattle bands right now, actually.
Seattle has always had a great scene, and Seattle's
Mhm.
always had a challenging scene because of the whole teen dance ordinance thing. But it's
Yeah,
always
totally.
like it's
Mhm.
always been just like a hotbed of creativity and whatnot. Did you know Common Heroes by any chance? Did you ever hear them?
Common Heroes? Yeah, I did. I don't remember who was in that band, but I think
Yeah, Ira Mero is the lead singer and
okay.
guitarist, I think, and he and somebody else, I think maybe somebody else from that band maybe have something going now. It's kind of
Oh, cool.
like a country western sort of thing.
Oh, wow.
But I really liked their stuff. The Common Heroes thing was they were just kind of loud and crunchy, and I'm not sure what you call it because it wasn't power pop, but it also wasn't like not pop. It
Oh,
was
yeah.
like kind of louder, darker pop songs, I guess. But they were always kind of my like in terms of Seattle indie, they were the thing that I knew
You
about.
were
But
you were into them. You liked them. I'll have to check them
I
out again.
did.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I'm not sure if they're even on streaming. They're on Bandcamp, but yeah.
One of the most underrated bands up here is Tennis Pro. Have you ever heard Tennis Pro?
Tennis Pro. That
Yeah.
sounds familiar, like somebody mentioned them before. What are they like?
They're a power pop trio, and
Okay.
they're kind of like maybe like influenced by Buzzcocks and some like early like power pop kind of stuff,
Okay.
maybe the
Yeah.
Replacements or something, but they're super good. They're just all the harmonies are great and they're so tight. They've been playing together for years and they're just underrated. I don't know, like every time they're playing a CD release show pretty soon and Don't Know's actually playing with them.
Oh, wow.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Yeah,
Like a
Don't
reunion.
Know. Yeah, Don't Know did a reunion last year or the year before.
Yep.
I think in 2023, and now they're doing this show too. And so Ed and Matt have been practicing with that a bunch. So I got to hear how that's going. But yeah, it's at this really there's this really cool like really small club in Belltown that's down these stairs in this alley. It's called the Belltown Yacht Club. And it's all
Nice.
got rock memorabilia everywhere. But the
Yeah.
story is that this was actually where Nirvana used to rehearse up until Kurt died.
Oh,
And
wow.
Oh
so
wow.
this space was actually like it's got all this Seattle history and it's this small maybe 100-seat venue or something. So
Yeah.
it's
Do
perfect
we
for
can we confirm this? Is this like is it true or is it the legend? Are we just printing the legend? It's okay to print the legend.
it's for sure a legend. Whether
Okay.
it's true, I don't
There's no
know.
way to verify. There's no way
There's
to know.
probably there's probably a way to verify. I
We
bet,
prefer
but I
to
just don't know.
focus on the legend, not
Yeah.
the veracity of the claim.
This is exactly
Yeah.
what happened here. Nirvana played here. That's what happened. That's why we're all here.
Yeah, Joe and Reese can fact check us.
So Nirvana wrote all of their records in this place. No,
Yes, they did. They sure did. They wrote all the hits from top to bottom in
Yep.
this particular venue.
All the riffs opening notes were formed
That's
in this
right.
place.
Mhm.
Yep.
Um,
Heart-shaped box. Heart-shaped box is about that venue.
it's completely about that venue. Milk It. That Nirvana song, Milk It, is about what happened in that venue. How was.
Nirvana's really just a project about this venue, guys.
That was it. Yeah. That's so Seattle.
I found the Facebook page for Tennis Pro, and it says they're Seattle's last remaining rock band. That's a good statement.
Okay.
Melody
There
and
we go.
anarchy. That's what they say. Melody and anarchy. I like that.
It's a good combination.
It's perfect. Well, whatever that
Mhm.
show is, like, if there's any Tooth and Nail fans, Don't Know's playing pretty soon. I think it's in March.
March 8th, I found the Yacht Club.
There you go.
The website.
Incredible.
Every time you're mentioning something off, I'm over here firing up on the Google.
You're
machine.
fact checking me.
No. I'm saving tabs for later to go back and look.
He's buying tickets.
Yeah. Wouldn't be so rude as to fact check in
Yeah.
real life. That's unnecessary. I'm building a playlist for the rest of the work week is what I'm
Yeah.
doing over here.
Oh yeah, Tennis Pro's great.
Yeah.
One of the guys, David, in that band, his partner does that. I don't know if you ever seen that Twitter, Facebook account, the stuff Christian culture likes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Stefan, he does that, and
Yep.
it's pretty. Sometimes it's excellent. Sometimes it's really funny. Sometimes it's a little more mean spirited, but I love it when it's really funny.
Yeah. My algorithm feeds me those kind of accounts. I've seen it.
Yep.
Yeah, mine too. I think that's what
Yeah.
you get if you were ever into Tooth and Nail Records and ever went to
Right.
church in your life. And
Right.
you're middle aged. Suddenly, like you get fed all these weird algorithms. It's so strange
that's
the
it.
stuff I get. Like I'm like, why is this happening? Like I'm not even into this anymore. Like, whatever.
I can tell you were once in a youth group and how old you are. You're like, here it comes.
Exactly.
Thanks, Brandon Ebel. There it is.
That's
Yeah,
right.
totally. Thank you, Brandon. Doug just told me he saw Brandon recently. I haven't seen Brandon forever. I know he still lives up here. I haven't seen him for a long time.
Yeah, he showed up on that Zoom call with the
Oh,
guy
right.
from Wish for Eden.
Oh yeah.
They were
For the
talking
box
about
set.
yeah, a little of that promo stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
pretty stoked that I saw that. Yeah, you have it right there, Kevin. Blenderhead, right there.
Yep.
The record. Yeah, I was pretty stoked that they put that album out. My favorite
Same.
is still like, I still really like that second Blenderhead record, Muchacho
Oh,
Viva. I
Muchacho
think
Vivo.
it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's so different. There's not a band that sounds like that.
Right.
Yeah, nobody
Yeah.
sounds like that. Like I've never heard anything like that. It's so like derivative of like Slint and like the Louisville kind of stuff, like Slint and Rodan or whatever, but it doesn't sound like Slint and Rodan at all. It sounds
Yeah.
totally unique, and it's so I just always loved that record. But Prime Candidate is I saw Blenderhead and MXPX together back in the day at this place in Seattle called the OK Hotel that was like a legend.
Mhm.
Doesn't
Yeah,
exist
yeah.
anymore, but that was probably the my first introduction sort of to the tooth and nail scene was us coming over to that Blenderhead and MXPX show. It was pretty rad. Yeah, those were such interesting times back in the day because MX was so like close to us on the peninsula, and so once we got connected, we just it was pretty fast moving us playing shows together and like being around each other all the time. It was pretty fun. Such a weird like yeah, those first 90 pound wuss tours were I think both the first early ones were with MXPX. So and that Blenderhead that Blenderhead's first tour was with MXPX too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I have the book that Billy wrote
Oh, yeah, I
about
have
their
that too.
tours,
Yeah.
like the tour journal. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool.
And he talked about all the different experiences touring with them and all that. I was driving through Bremerton when it was after I went to Ozette this last summer after I did my run. The next day I drove back like towards my dad's place, and I was like, "Hey, I should look up that spot because one of those old Cooties tapes had like a street address on it." And so I ended
That's
up
right.
finding this place where it's probably some garage that they played in or something, and there's like a park across the street from it, and there's a van that was abandoned and painted on across the street from it and everything. It was great. I felt
Wow.
like I kind of had this experience, just kind of taking it. This is what the Cooties would be doing right now. Is just standing here, basking in the sun, looking at an old van.
The Cooties. That was funny because both Giles and Dale played in 90 pound wuss,
Yep.
and they were Cooties.
Love it.
That was yeah. I'm hoping so. The latest person that we've asked to be in 90 pound wuss to play guitar is actually from Port Orchard out there and was
Oh, there you go.
around during that time. He was in a
It's kind of keeping it in the family.
yeah. I'm hoping that it'll work out. He was in a band called Wow Nito Frank, um,
Okay.
back in the day, and they were kind of like a thrash thrash crossover punk band kind of, and we used to
Yeah.
play with them a bit, and I think they probably played with MXPX. I think some of those guys ended up being in this band called Special Guest that Boot to Head put out.
Oh, I remember them.
Yeah, because that was our good friend Wayne from Port Angeles, and our friend Colette sang, and then Kent was in the band, but I think Smitty played guitar too, maybe, or somebody played. Oh no, Andy. That's who played bass. Was Andy, the original MXPX guitarist.
Oh, right.
He was in that
Amazing.
band. Yeah, he was in Special Guest. That was so long ago.
Yeah, I had a ton of that. I had a ton of that boot to head stuff that Caleb sent me when I was working at a radio station. Yeah, I got tons of stuff from him.
Nice. Yeah, they had some cool releases.
Yeah.
Can we go back to you mentioned the guys that you're creating with in the practice space, like Matt Johnson and Doug. What's your hope for that group? Like, what do you plan to do with that project? What is it? Are you just recording stuff? Do you want to play a show? Is it just
Oh, I
fun?
hope I hope we play shows. Yeah, I hope we play shows and make a record. That would be cool. I don't know how dedicated everyone is. I think it's hard in a little ways. Doug and I we work really well together, but we also don't work really well. Meaning that we have completely different musical tastes, but we're
Mhm.
good friends, and so we appreciate each other, and we end up
Yeah.
making something that neither one of us would have ever made if it wasn't for us working together. Which for me, I think this time playing music with Doug, I want to embrace that, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want Doug and Jeff parts next to each other that just sound completely wrong. Like I like that,
Yeah.
and I like what
He's
we
like your
ended up.
oblique strategist. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what we did in Raft was so unique to me. It had this atmosphere and this vibe, especially by our last album that we did. There's a lot of BS around that band too that I'm not really that comfortable with anymore. But the vibe of the music, I really, really enjoyed how it would almost like each song feels like it's a journey. Like it starts in this one place and then
Mhm.
it ends up somewhere completely different.
Mhm.
And it seems really cohesive how it traveled that way. And that was basically because me and John and Doug just used to verbally abuse one another until we'd get our way on the parts. It was pretty bad. It was like constant fighting. Like
Mhm.
that band was interesting, but I think that it made something. I mean, nobody knows who that. Obviously, you guys do, but not very many people know that. It's not even streamable, so it's like only on Bandcamp and in the which we might change this year. That's another thing. I'm working with do you guys know Naz, who's a big 90 Pound Wuss fan, Nazareth LeMay?
That sounds familiar. Like I
Okay.
think I've seen his name online.
Yeah, he's there's like I said, there's a couple handfuls of people that have all the 90 Pound Wuss records, and
Mhm.
like I've talked to over the years, that one of us hasn't met, and he's one of them. And lives in LA and works at Capitol Records, and he's gonna help me get stuff cleaned up online. Like I
Oh wow.
think Hideous Thieves stuff is scattered and like in under weird categories and a bunch of other stuff. So I'm actually excited about that. He'll probably help make sure that the 90 Pound Wuss releases that we do with the live release and whatever else we might do actually show up as 90 Pound Wuss under in the right place when you're
Yep.
looking for it on the streaming services. Just stuff like that. Like it's nice to have somebody who knows what they're doing in those realms to help. And he's been a fan of the music I made and a really nice guy. So yeah, essentially when somebody like that comes along, they're like basically part of our team. We have a few that we consider like people in the band. Basically is how we
Mhm.
communicate through like Discord. We use a Discord server
Oh,
and
okay.
we're like so modern. No. So we put all of our
Yeah.
stuff up there and talk all of our smack and whatever else we're doing. And so we invite the people that are like helping us out. So we have Joe Mendonca who did that band Dry Bones with me. Like
Yeah.
we do that band
Yeah.
together. He is pretty much in charge of our visual aesthetic.
Mhm.
And he did all the like animation film stuff that we did.
Yeah, you had some of that at Trim Tab when you played there. Yeah.
Yep, we had he made that, and then he's sort of doing all the artwork for stuff coming up. He did some of the t-shirt designs, and now he'll pretty much probably do anything that we make. And then Maurice, my good friend, who was also a fan forever, that's how we met, was he was a fan of 90 Pound Wuss and stuff, and he used to live in Las Vegas but moved to Seattle, and he has been doing our social media. So if you interact with somebody online, it's probably either Maurice. If
Mhm.
it's Instagram, it could be Marty if it's not Maurice. If it's Facebook, it's probably me because I'm the only one who uses Facebook. They just don't. So I do that because, well, I already had accounts
You're
linked
taking one
to
for the
it.
team. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I had accounts linked to it for so long, like the Hideous Thieves stuff.
Mhm.
And that I just like, okay, I don't want to delete my profile, whatever.
Right.
So I'm trying to use it less. I don't think it's good for my health because I get rallied up and ticked off about a lot of political and religious stuff these days, and then I end up like not even necessarily researching and just reposting memes and all this crap, and it's bad for my heart rate.
Yep.
I'm old. I gotta calm
I,
down.
I can relate.
Yep.
It's better if I just sing songs about it, which is most of the subject matter on the new 90 Pound Wuss stuff is pretty much like in the realms of like well, in some ways I feel like it's very similar to what we used to sing about a lot, which was like a prosperity type theology. We would sort of demonize quite often on our records, and some other
Mhm.
things about the way that Christians portrayed themselves that we disagreed with. So I do a lot of that lately in regard to Christian nationalism and a
Yeah.
lot
Sweet.
of MAGA
Yeah.
stuff.
Yep.
I'm in on that, and then women and LGBTQ plus rights pro.
Mhm.
We're a lot of songs about that. There's still
Sweet.
some other stuff that's more sort of oriented emotionally to feelings and like a lot of 90 Pound Wuss stuff, but not most of it's more seems to be classic punk rock political and then classic 90 Pound Wuss religious sort of driven
Yep.
in a in
Mhm.
a in a way that's similar to me. Like that's what's been interesting is I feel really strongly about this stuff right now, and I don't think Christian nationalists have a good theological presuppositions at all. And I'm so against it that like it feels like what we used to do the first time around when we used to dislike the prosperity theologians and preachers and stuff like that. I feel like I have the space that's the same space from 25 years
Yeah,
ago,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's a little
Yeah.
bit different, and it's really
Yeah.
been
And it's really
cathartic.
relevant now too, you know? I mean,
Right.
shoot.
Now is the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, we can't be maybe happy for it, but we can like I can appreciate that you've got some poetry to put down about it. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks for appreciating it. I hope that they turn out good. A lot of stuff is too like mixed with like sort of, as somebody who's been working all my life and trying to make a living, and it's frustrating, as everybody pretty much knows. I'm like, a lot of it has to do with class warfare, like right out the bat. I feel like so classic punk rock, just like it's been really fun. I can't wait
Yeah.
for the stuff for us to get recording them. I mean, we have all the demos, but yeah, they're starting to come together live. And it's funny because like I said, some songs are more like Hideous Thieves, and some songs actually kind of, the ones I've shared with a few people, they're like, this kind of reminds me of like a good cross between the first and second 90 Pound Wuss records.
Oh, cool.
So
I like that.
which is interesting because they are catchier and poppier, I think.
Uh-huh.
I think that's just where I'm at, like listening to Scal, and like I really like Scal. I think Kat's a great vocalist, and I really
Yeah.
like how they have that like good blend of like hardcore and then like grunge almost.
Mm-hmm.
So and
Yes.
a few years ago, one of my favorite bands, they broke up, but they were so good. I wish they were still together. Have you heard that Canadian band like Dilly Dally?
Mm-mm.
No, I'm
Oh,
adding,
they're-
I'm adding that to the list
Interesting.
though.
They're
Yep.
so
Yeah.
good.
Write that
They're
down.
Yep.
they're kind of like Hole, that band Hole, like they're kind of
Yeah.
grunge, like Hole and Nirvana grunge, not Soundgarden or Pearl Jam grunge.
Yeah.
I just can't believe I just lumped those in the same sentence. Pearl Jam and
Important
Soundgarden are
distinction, yeah.
vastly
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Right.
But those bands are also
But neither of them sound like Hole. Yeah.
yes, but Hole and Nirvana sound very similar, and maybe even the Pixies, in my opinion. There's some similarities, but
Yeah.
it's like that, but with a total like Sabbath edge.
That's cool.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
pretty
Oh,
good,
nice.
and her voice is it's crazy what she does with her. Like I'm how could she do that? It's nuts. They were so good, and Colin and I got to see him, and I'm so glad we got to see him before they broke up. They only did like 2 records and maybe an EP or something, and just their last record, I think it's called Heaven. It's blue when you look it up. That one's there's a song on there specific. My favorite song by them is called Marijuana, and it's so good. Yeah, check it out.
Okay,
You
yeah,
might
there we
like
I've
it.
opened another tab.
Yep.
If you like any of that stuff, you might like. Yeah, it's cool because I just been way into music again lately. Like I got so burned out after being in the music industry and trying to like hustle yourself, that now I
Yeah.
just feel like a little kid again. Like I love all kinds of music. I go to shows like
That's
at
incredible.
least 2 to 4 times a month. I'm
That's
just
awesome.
always like
How'd you come back around?
I think COVID had a lot to do with it when that happened, and I still worked. I was, I work in construction, so I
Yeah.
up here I was constantly I do I basically sell flooring projects, and I project manage and do sales and coordinating of it. I don't really do installation that often anymore, but I did. But nobody was going anywhere. There was no music at all, and I'm like, okay, this is terrible.
Yeah.
I need to see some music and hear some music. And as soon as the first time stuff started opening back up, I was just going all the time, like anything.
Yeah.
And in that process, I was wondering, what are people doing like for music? So I started hearing new music, which for somebody who I turned 50 next month. So
Happy
yeah,
birthday.
pretty soon. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be old, but I already am old. But anyways, most people get stuck in the trap of just listening to the stuff that they always did. But I've always liked music, and so I was like, why haven't I been paying attention to anything new? Let me just start soaking in new stuff. And I started looking online, reading things, listening to. We have a great radio station here called KEXP that is like phenomenal.
They're the best.
Yeah, they're so good, and they turn me on to a lot of stuff. And then if like anything, if you start going down the rabbit hole of what's new in this genre or this thing or whatever, you can find all sorts of stuff. And that's what's also really cool about streaming right now, I think. Especially, oh, another thing was the like Bandcamp, just like paying attention to their like lists of
Yeah.
things that are in the genres that you like. I'm like, oh, this is
Yeah.
cool. This is cool. And so I started doing that and listening to tons of new stuff. And I just feel like reinvigorated to make my own music and to listen to other bands. And I feel so much more supportive. Like I think I got pretentious when I was younger because I was doing it for so long, and then I, also put on concerts and like all of it was music. So I'd get like, yeah, this band's okay or whatever. But after COVID, it was like everybody was like at their peak. Everybody who showed up
Yeah.
was like giving
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
A game
Yeah.
totally, and everything was
I've
so
been
good.
honing it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that most musicians have just kept that bar really high since then. And so I've only seen, unfortunately, it was a band I used to love and listen to, but they were the only band that I've seen since COVID, um, since everything opened back up and concerts started happening that was terrible, like terrible, terrible, was the Sisters of Mercy. They were just
Oh,
Oh,
awful.
sad.
And I was so sad because I
Oh
really
no.
liked them, but it was, I don't know if it was the venue or what, but there was feedback. It was just the sound was bad. It was
Mhm.
like they're a bass heavy band, like it's all like bass driven, and they didn't even have a bass player. It was all tracks, and they had two guitar players, which is like this is the Sisters of Mercy. It's like a drum machine and a bass, and the guitar is like I don't know on a so it kind of that was the only a week later the same venue in Seattle. It's called the Paramount Theater. Was it the Paramount or the Moore? I think it was the Paramount. Anyways, it was one of the two big theaters here. The next week was Love and Rockets, and they killed it. So I was like, it just
No
must be
way.
Sisters of Mercy because Love and Rockets sounded phenomenal. They were
Yeah.
better. I've seen Love and
Yeah.
Rockets like 3 times, and
Yep.
that was the best I ever saw them. For the most part, not to diss Sisters, they did come around again, and I haven't heard if that concert was good, but I wasn't gonna go find out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like just everything was so good. It's been this cool, refreshing time of I'm making music and Ableton Live. Like
hmm
I don't know if any of you use that kind of recording software, but the way recording software works now, it's so easy to use and user friendly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Ableton in
Intuitive.
particular works with my brain because you can do it, record little clips, right? And then you can arrange your song with all these clips, and
Yeah.
that's like a game changer for me.
You kind of like write with it or a sketch pad with it or whatever.
Yep,
Yeah.
totally. And
That's
sometimes
great.
I don't use every part, but it's cool because I could just like play a riff, plug it in, record it, and then what could go next? This might work. Play something else,
Yeah.
record it, and
Yeah.
then it
Try it
either works
out.
or it doesn't work. Yeah.
Love it.
Nice.
Yeah, super fun.
Yeah, it's a good time for music right now. Sorry.
It really is.
Yeah.
And all the what's cool about like all the sort of subgenres, it's almost like they don't really exist anymore. They're just all like blended together. Like
Yeah.
some bands are purists for sure, but for the most part, there's bands that like there'll be this punk band, but all of a sudden they'll have like some weird like well, even like Turnstile. Like what the heck's
Yeah.
going on when they sound like
Yeah.
Weezer? You're like, holy moly, like you can do that and be hardcore? Like it's totally crazy.
People like to argue about that about them.
Yeah,
But
they're
yeah,
just
they're
doing what they
awesome.
want to
No,
do.
like oh, they're so good. It's a great time for music. I agree with you. Like there's so many good new and current bands that are recording, touring. It's just like I feel like it's all the time. It's everywhere. There's always a band to see nearby that's worth seeing. And it does. It feels like there's a boom post COVID where there's just like everybody realized what they lost or something that we didn't have it for a minute. We're like, oh, that sucked. So let's get out there and do it.
And it
Yeah,
did suck.
it
Yeah.
did. It was
Yep.
terrible. We all know. Yeah, it was awful. But I agree. It's a great moment. And this scene too, like heavier music, indie music, alternative music. There's just bands everywhere that are great.
Yeah, it's cool. It feels like almost everything that what's I really like. I've always liked goth, and so there's all these new goth bands that are more like Interpol than like what used to be. There was this time when everybody was like more like kind of heavy and had that really deep voice
Yep.
and in like the late 90s and early 2000s and stuff, and I didn't really like a lot of that stuff. And now even that music is like more like blending with like the indie bands that are kind of post-punk and dark, and it's just like cool stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. It's interesting to see some of the classics, like the Lovers band. What are they called? That played Furnace Fest the same way. That's
Oh,
Greg
Better
from
Lovers?
yeah, yeah, Better Lovers. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so good, and they're like members of two like freaking great
Oh,
metalcore
super
bands.
group.
Just
Yeah. Like
yeah, it's like
it's
super group. Yeah,
yeah, they're
so sick.
phenomenal. Yeah.
Have you guys ever heard there's this band from here called that were around before them called Constant Lovers?
No.
It's
How
two
are
guys
they?
from Hideous Thieves, and they're
Oh, really?
phenomenal. They're really
Nice.
good. They're kind of like their newest album is lots of saxophone, but it's
Interesting.
awesome. It's like
That's cool.
comped chords, and it's kind of experimental. Maybe somewhat like Jesus Lizard and Swans influenced rock stuff,
Oh,
but
nice.
very saxophone heavy. So it's just bizarre. They're really good. And
Interesting.
yeah, it's kind of a Seattle supergroup too, because everybody's been in other bands. Eric Fisher, who used to play with Damien Jurado back in the day, like he was one of the original I Break Chairs people.
Hmm.
No way.
Yeah, he plays in that band, and then Ben Verellen, who is Dave Verellen's from Botches. It's his brother Ben, and he used to make these amazing guitar amps called Verellen amplifiers. He plays drums in that band. They're just really good. But the bass player and the singer were in on the last Hideous Thieves record, and I think they might have done a few other things with us too. But they're really great. Constant Lovers. You should check those guys out.
Nice. Yeah, for
Freaking
sure.
awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this. I love that we're getting like all these other bands to check out.
I do
It's
too.
awesome.
I have so many tabs open in my browser.
Well, hopefully the band that I'm doing with Doug and Matt and Ed will have something in the next year. I'm hoping so. I think we might be called Thoughts and Prayers.
Oh,
Hopefully.
that's
Oh,
awesome.
That's the name I want to go for, but we keep on texting different names, so we'll see
That's
if
a good
that's what
name.
sticks.
I like that.
I did find one band called that, but it's not even similar style of music, so it's probably fine.
Probably fine.
Probably fine.
I don't know why it reminded me of this. So, my daughter Megan and I were talking yesterday, and she was talking about how like down the road, like maybe it would be kind of cool to like open up a pizza place. So, that's kind of what she wants to do, like, once she gets older. And we came up with the name for it, and we thought it would be really funny if she called it That Pizza Place That I Like. So that when people were like, "Oh, where should we go to eat? Let's go to that pizza place that I
That's the
like."
name of it. Yeah.
That's a great idea. How old is she?
She's 16.
That'll make for great shirts.
Nice. Yeah, my 14-year-old really loves to cook too. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's cool. That pizza place I really like. That's
You
a
guys are
great name.
practicing in the backyard, so
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Yeah, we've got an outdoor pizza oven, so we've been making pizzas here.
Nice. Have you tried anything crazy that's awesome?
Not yet. I want to though. We've just been mostly just trying to get the hang of it at this point, and we finally got to the point where we're like, all right, cool. We're getting like consistently like decent pizzas coming out of this, and now it's like 10 degrees out. So
Oh yeah, it's so cold.
yeah.
I think it's supposed to snow here, I think this weekend. So we'll see if we actually have band rehearsal. That was the thing. Like, what if we get snowed out? I'm like, I don't want Marty to get stuck here. So we'll just have to see what it looks
More
like
rehearsal.
on Sunday morning.
Yep.
Yeah, your
more
voice
rehearsal.
can't handle that, right?
Then I won't be able to talk.
Do that growly
bad.
thing. See if that
Yeah.
works.
I drive around a lot, so I rehearse. That's how I'll do like breathing exercises, and then I'll try to sing really loud in the car when I'm driving around Seattle. So it probably looks crazy if somebody pulls up to me because I'm
The
It's
ska
funny.
vocals are going to help prolong that long.
They will.
Right.
Practice.
I can just
happy,
say
peppy
a lot
stuff.
of some delay on it and just do a lot of ja ja.
Exactly.
Yeah. A lot of like the dub reggae ska stuff. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Exactly. We had a what was I I just had an old man brain fart. Totally don't know what I was going to say. Trying to keep things moving, but I don't know.
It's cool. You're doing great.
Do we want to play a game?
Yeah, let's do it.
Are you fine with playing? We play a game usually when you have a guest. Is that fine with you, Jeff?
Sure. Let's do
We
it.
change it up every single time based on who's with us to try to make it fit with the person who's joining us. And so what we thought we'd do this time, and we also, it kind of puts you on the spot a little bit, um, probably for our enjoyment mostly,
Mostly.
mostly. So we like to make it a little bit challenging but fun. And so we thought in the vein of Jeff suffering, we would ask you to christen us with a stage moniker or performance name that you think fits as well as you can tell from what you've encountered so far, which is like that. So that's part of the fun for us, is you don't really know us, and we're asking you to personalize something. But to make it easier, you can ask each of us a question that helps you get to where you want to go. Does that make sense?
I think so. The crazy thing is all of your names like are already good,
Right.
especially Brock's. Like,
Right. He's just John Smith. That's his
Right.
stage name.
That's me. Yeah, exactly.
not Joseph.
Yeah, there you go. He hasn't
Golden
seen God
tablets.
yet.
Right. And there's no wrong answer, obviously. So,
Yeah, this is just for fun, so it's no pressure.
Can you imagine if it wasn't just for fun? If this was like a
Actually, everything is on the line right now. We lied.
Yeah.
You're gonna like change your IDs and everything.
This is
your
so
credit card
serious.
statement is going to reflect this.
Well,
yeah.
that's even more fun.
We have pending mortgage applications that
Yes.
are just waiting for the right name.
Dude, Jared, is that really your last name, Fries?
It is my last name. It's technically pronounced Freeze, but it's spelled like the English fries. But yes, that's my real name.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to figure it out. What question to ask?
Like if Jared lived in the House of Fries, that would make sense.
Right.
It would make sense.
Jeff lived in the House of Suffering, so ergo, Jeff's suffering.
Well, I know that you're in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have children too?
I do. I have 2 daughters.
Okay. 2 daughters.
Yeah.
I have 3.
And I'm married. I have a partner
You're
and 2
married, too.
daughters.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he also has taken a Jeff Fortson to the face.
A what?
That
Oh,
Brock made me a flag of it. That was at Furnace Fest. Was that the same? That was the same year you guys played, right? When Squad and 5 Iron were there?
No, that
No,
was
it wasn't.
Or was that
before.
in between? Okay.
That was
I went to
yeah,
all
it might have
4 of
been-
them, so I get them mixed up.
okay.
But
That might
yeah,
have been
so I think it was the
after.
year.
Was that 2024 or was that 2022?
It was 2022, I guess. So it was the year before. That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Which I think that was the same year Roadside played, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Right to the face.
Jeff jumped off and Jared just got
I wasn't paying
Hefecito
attention.
right in the face.
Gosh, I'm not even good at this. So, how can you go like? The first thing that comes to mind is just D fries to the face.
I think that's it. I could be a DJ.
That's more like a DJ name.
That
Yeah,
works.
we didn't specify what
It does.
genre, so yeah.
Yep,
This could
exactly.
be,
Yeah.
and a DJ definitely needs a moniker.
He's going on stage
But
as
just
that.
like JD Freeze is good too.
Ooh.
I'll take that.
to the face.
To the
To the face. It has to be
That's
to
what
the
you're
face.
getting, Brock. Yeah.
I mean, we
Naturally.
could just call you Wiener.
Cut to the chase.
These all work. I think you're really good at this.
JD
You're-
Weenie.
You're selling yourself short. You're good at this.
Okay. Which one did we settle on then? I think it's Weenie.
There we go. Easy. Easy.
You had to point that out to me.
I'm clearly like an indie folk
Yep.
artist. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that means that one of us is going to be the butt.
That's
Yep.
I mean, it's looking like you right now.
Okay. It's not unusual.
I mean, you do have a very nice mustache. How long have you
Thank
had
you.
that mustache?
I was telling my wife, not as long as I thought. I started wearing the trucker stash all the way down to the chin back in 2016. And
Okay.
then these parts started graying, and so I started shaving them off. So here I am running from myself and running from the inevitable.
How did that make you feel when you first saw just this?
Honestly, it made me feel like like, wow, that's not what I thought it was going to be. I thought it would be worse, I
You
think is what I
did.
expected. I did, and I was okay with it as it stood. As a matter of fact, I was I was at the ski lodge this weekend, and some guy like from down below by the ski lift, like apparently sees me and yells up, "Hey, dude, nice mustache!" And so
I was surprised he didn't say, "Hey, are you Brock Dittus?"
So
precisely.
let let me see what you guys think of my working theory here. And you know how like your wife or partner will go and get their hair done and then wait for you to make a like acknowledge it. And I
Uh-huh.
can be bad about because you know, you're like
Like, gee, your
I'm
hair
not
looks
clued
good.
in.
Mhm.
Right, you're supposed to recognize it, say how
That's
amazing it
expensive
is.
hair. Look at
No, you're
that
not supposed
hair.
to say that.
Wow.
You're not supposed to bring that up in the moment. You're supposed to be like, "Oh my God, look at your hair. It's so beautiful. I love
Wow,
what
it
you
looks
did
like you
there."
didn't spend a dime on it.
But you
Am
know,
I missing both ways?
I think you're all over the place.
Okay.
But you know, like their friends are going to point out when they got a hair, like they've been to the hair salon or
Hmm.
they've done
Yep.
something. Their friends always
Yep.
notice and they always tell them they're
Right.
beautiful.
Mhm.
And then they come home and you don't do that necessarily. I think
Right.
facial hair is our version of that. Because when you grow a big beard or have a well coiffed mustache like yourself, Brock,
Oh yeah.
I bet no
Thank
woman
you.
at the ski resort said, "Hey, bro, love that
As a
mustache."
matter of fact, no woman did.
But guys, random strange guys will comment on the quality of your beard and your mustache. Like it's the one,
Right.
it must be our safe
Right.
space that we feel
Hmm.
comfortable with giving each
Yeah.
other compliments on
Yeah.
how we look.
I see you are wearing the
Like,
correct mustache. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, bro, great mustache, or love the beard, looking good.
Yep.
And it just hit me. This we do this for each other,
We do.
not for the women we may be attracted to, and we hope that are attracted back to us, if that is what we are seeking. We
That's
do
right.
it
And
for
we
each
all have
other.
partners with whom we are happy and satisfied, and so we're not out
100%.
there looking. But we are always looking for compliments.
But anytime you're
Right.
growing a good beard or manicuring your mustache, that's for the buddy. That's for your bros. It's for the
That's for the
buddies.
bros.
It's for
Yeah.
your friends. And they will notice and they're going
Yeah.
to take the time to compliment you.
It's
Our
true.
facial
Nice.
hair. Yeah, right? Am I wrong on this? Am I off the
No,
beaten track
I
here?
think you're onto something. I think I'd have to think this through, but I think you might be onto something.
Think of the ratio of
Especially,
comments you've gotten from men and women on your facial hair.
yeah, especially when don't shave it at all and it just
Yeah.
gets really
Mhm.
mangly, then I usually get the "your beard's really big" kind of
Yep.
compliment.
Mhm.
Um,
Right? We're
Yep.
so impressed by that.
Yeah.
yeah. And it is one of those things where it's kind of a compliment, but I'm not really sure if that matters or is. I mean, the reason I started growing it out was because I got lazy one summer
Mhm.
and I was sick and
Exactly.
tired of having like a double chin that I noticed every time,
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
just because I'm
Sure.
bigger and
Yeah.
older and it droops. And
Yeah.
so I was like, oh, well, that'll take care of it.
Problem
And then I
There you
solved.
just,
go.
after that, I've thought about cutting it off. I've thought about just doing the mustache. I've thought about all sorts of things, but it's kind of easy the way that it is right now.
Yep.
I mean, I
Then you
do
have
Yeah.
to
groom it more than
shave.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I still groom it more than I thought I would.
Mhm.
Right.
I thought you just, some people just grow it all out. And I've heard the trick is for like a good mustache, but Brock will be able to tell me whether this is true or not. But I've heard that the best ones are when you can grow it and then it's so long that you can pull it this way
You
instead
have to
of
separate it.
but if it's
Yeah.
wet, it's going to come down to like here or something. And that just
Right.
that I've never got to a point where I could handle that. So I always end up trimming my mustache.
Mhm.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
honestly, like Teresa thinks when I trim it, like sometimes it's a little too short, and she's like, "No, that looks terrible." And so, but I can't handle it when it gets past my lip a little. Like I
Yep.
start to, it drives
Yep.
me bonk. I start like pulling it out with my teeth and stuff.
And it
Yeah.
gets
Yeah. No.
I had to get rid of everything this weekend because I was sick.
I
And
noticed. I was
Mhm.
about to compliment you on it.
I was producing an unnecessary amount of snot, and the mustache was it was at that point where it was
Mhm.
like I have to like move it, But when you're blowing your nose 14 times a day, it was gross.
Yeah.
It just like by
14.
Saturday,
You got off
I
easy.
I think it's all well, yeah, I feel like that's all I did for 4 days.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
stayed home from work and all I did is sit on the couch and blow my nose. I didn't shower and the beard was all long and the mustache was
Yeah.
all long. And so Sunday I was like,
Unkempt.
I feel gross. And so
Yep.
I just the trimmer came out because I was like, I can't. This is disgusting at this point. I am disgusting. I have an
There we
excuse
go.
because I'm sick, but I'm now repulsed by myself because I've had 2 showers in the past 5 days, and this is not sanitary. Whatever's happening, I'm doing my best to keep it clean, but it's just not happening. So I had to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understandable.
Man.
Yep.
So okay, so we're settling
Sorry,
on
that was
the
a big
butt then.
detour. Yeah,
Hey,
so
it's what
Brock
we
just
do.
Brock the butt.
So we got JD Weenie.
Yeah.
So, Brock, are you a firefighter?
I am not.
Are you a police officer?
I am not.
What do you do for a living?
I work for state government.
Oh, that's close. That gets
I
close.
know, right? Yeah, yeah.
Oregon state government, huh?
Yeah.
What do you do for the state?
We'll time it out for the
Yep.
podcast, just for fun times. If I was talking on the podcast, I'd probably say I was an HVAC guy.
Okay.
Time out!
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Had a
sort of
mustache
like,
back then too.
yeah, that's a good
Had to,
one.
then it was required.
I mean, generally,
Yeah.
generally when I see a mustache like yours, I'm associating it with being a police officer or a firefighter. So Marty
Right,
also
right.
has a mustache,
Yep.
and it's a nice looking mustache as well, like yours is, and he is a volunteer firefighter.
There we go. I was wondering if I should volunteer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have the look. So
Okay.
I almost want
You'll
to.
soon have a new name to apply with.
Right.
There we
And-
go.
Oh,
Yeah.
you know, and Russell from Dogwood has a mustache as well, and he's a firefighter.
He does.
It's true. It's true. Yep.
You've been training for this.
So
You
I just have to
didn't
come
know.
up with some conspiracy theories, and then I'll be all set.
Yeah, then you'll be all set. I think
That's if you want to be the drummer in Dogwood. Yeah.
That's
I think
right.
we could, kind of like dumpster fire, but I think we just call you bus fire.
There we go. Sounds like a plan.
Bus for short.
That'll work.
Yep.
Yeah. Easy.
I like it.
Easy.
Yes.
Okay, let's think of Kevin.
Yep.
What do you do for a living?
So once again, timeout. I also work for municipal government.
Okay.
I'm actually in the
Time out! Time out!
Oh, okay.
so everybody hates me.
I got it.
Yeah.
You're
Oh,
Doombringer.
oh, I like it.
Oh,
Fantastic.
Doombringer Brennan.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's great.
that is
That's my name.
fantastic.
Okay.
Sweet.
Bus fire.
Easy.
JD Ween.
Easy.
Oh, I think you nailed it.
Okay. So who's gonna do me then? Because it can't be Jeff Suffering then.
Oh, for real? We got to do another
Oh,
one?
we get to come up
Okay.
with a new one.
I like
Okay.
I like this.
Let's see.
Okay. Let's see.
Let's see.
Flooring.
Construction. Since you're in construction and out in the North Pacific and the Northwest, I think you should be Pacific Hal.
Oh, Pacific
That
Hal.
just sounds like a guy
Ooh.
who works on a construction site. Pacific
That
Hal.
works. That's
That's my
I like
offering.
that. That's
Okay.
good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or Howl of the Pacific.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad.
bad.
Gosh, I'm trying to
What
think
you
of-
guys got?
I was thinking almost like some sort of lumberjack sort of connection.
Okay.
You know, like
That's good.
the guy swinging the big axe.
Chopper
Paul
Dan or
Bunyan.
something.
Like
Yeah,
Paul
yeah,
Bunyan.
for sure. Yeah. But like Jeff Bunyan.
Hmm.
It's like Suff Bunyan. I'm trying to think of what how this
That's
would work
good.
itself out. Suffering Bunyan. Well, like if we want to keep the connection, if we want people to be able to follow the thread from one iteration to the next, I think Suffering Bunyan might have to be it.
Right.
That might work.
How you spelling Bunyan? That's the question.
You know, you leave it up to the whatever is most appropriate at the time.
Right.
What are they dealing with?
I do also. I this hair covers my ginormous butt chin.
Ooh, okay.
I have quite a big one. It's quite a big dimple there.
But are you competing for the title of the butt?
I think I am now.
Mm.
Okay, all right. So we got to put that in the. So really,
Okay, so
Step aside,
it'd be-
Brock. Your junior
butt
butt.
bunion.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
butt bunion is going to be the
not just button.
and the big blue ox. Yeah,
Oh wait, I got it. BC Bunyan.
BC. Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
butt chin bunion.
Butt chin bunion. That works.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, there,
We-
perfect. Yeah, yeah.
Did
Okay.
we start a band? Is that what just happened?
think
I think
so.
we did. Yeah, I think we've got. Yeah,
We're a hip hop collective.
Yep.
yeah.
Oh.
And we have already talked about all the styles that we can incorporate. So
Yeah.
we're good.
We gotta go with the new
Do
thing.
do we have to tell Reese that parking lot whiskey is breaking up?
Oh,
Yeah.
parking lot whiskey.
We can have multiple projects. We'll be
Oh,
okay.
okay.
Is that your ska band?
Trying to think, parking lot whiskey. What did we decide that was going to be? Just like a post-punk, whatever.
I'm assuming it's Reese from Five Iron that's in that band with you.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
Correct.
right.
So
Yep.
that would make sense that it wouldn't be a ska band then, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
They might wanna
yeah,
do
'cause he's
something
had enough
different.
Of that.
Right.
Yeah.
you know, we can start our band can be a ska band
Oh,
because
okay.
we have
There
not
we
done
go.
that yet.
Yes.
And I
Perfect.
have an affinity for reggae bass lines.
Yep.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could play bass and do backup hollering.
Okay.
Easy. Easy.
We need that.
Yeah.
We're gonna need to add about 8 more members before we can be a full ska band. But
I
we're
think I
getting
was
there.
going to play drums in that band also, right? So
Okay.
I'll play drums
Yeah.
in this band.
I'm just glad you don't already have a ska band so that we can be a ska band. 'Cause
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna pioneer the newest wave of ska.
Jared, you took some piano lessons, right?
Yeah. You know, I know
Yeah.
3
So you can
chords.
play
That's
the
enough.
the horn lines on keyboard. Yeah, you'll be good.
That's right. Yeah.
It'll be perfect.
Yeah.
3 chords is enough.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, all it has to do is have those groovy bass lines that are. I'll like use a harmonic pitch shifter, so I have the high and the low end.
There we go.
I'll grow some dreadlocks, and then I'll have definitely that joint hanging out my mouth.
Hanging out of your mouth. Exactly. There you go. It's everything that you need.
The
Oh,
bass
yeah.
lines are going to
Yeah.
be the hallmark of our band. That's our signature sound.
Nice.
Honestly, yeah, I think
Yeah.
at this point it has to be like a dub thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to send. I have Kevin's number. I'll have to send you a link to that guy I was telling you about. And then you
Oh,
can
yeah,
share it
for
with
sure.
everybody,
I
'cause
think
it's
that's going to end up
epic.
being our outro music.
Yeah.
It's pretty epic. It's crazy. I think I might have been a little bit on the green myself. So
You're seeing
listening to-
the world from a different perspective.
yeah, listen.
Right.
Well, I don't know what it is about that Delta 9 stuff at freaking in Alabama,
Uh-huh.
but
Yeah.
that was really messed me up. I'm used to like I do a little bit of edibles and like 5 milligrams. I'm not like half of a regular dose out here. And so I was talking to the guy there, like, what's like that? What can I do? And he said, "Oh yeah, here, take these." It was the day. It was the youth of today, like Judge night,
Mhm.
and I was like, "Huh, I didn't really feel this. I'll eat another one." And
Oh,
then
no.
when Judge played,
Classic, right?
I had to leave, man. I felt like they had like fog coming out from behind their amps, like smoke machine stuff, and I was like
It was all too
totally
much.
tripping, just like I think this is. I think that they know I'm high. This is cool.
They certainly did.
It was so bad. I had to leave.
Beyond the shadow of a doubt.
They're
they
coming
knew.
to get me.
Yeah.
It was it, and
Yeah.
I ever since then I'm like, okay, I'm not touching that like Delta 9 stuff. I don't know what it is. Like I don't know how that works, but it's not normal. It's not the normal Washington stuff, which is pretty gnarly in general, and so that's why I don't like it's really low doses.
Yep.
But geez, that was a weird night. I like I like had to leave during their set because I was having such a horrible time and felt like yeah.
Oh, no.
And Colin
That's rough.
was so into it. He was like, yes, because he, grew up listening to all that straight edge stuff. And I just like,
Yeah.
man, I'm leaving. Sorry, I gotta go. It was rough. I don't know if you guys do that, but it's I'm not like a super stoner or anything, but I do it a little bit, and that was quite the experience.
Yeah. because of what I do for work, I'm not allowed to. So
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah,
I have,
totally.
when I turn 65 or something, presumably that's when I'll enjoy the stuff. Maybe. Who knows?
Maybe. Who knows?
If
Maybe
you're able
not.
to
Yeah.
retire, right?
Right.
Maybe they
Yeah.
won't make it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. What's up with that? Are we gonna any of us able to retire? Oh my gosh.
Are we gonna make it to 65? Right.
Yeah.
Mm.
What
Yeah.
is gonna happen? Are we
Yeah.
gonna be are we gonna still be Americans like in the next few years, or
Is there
is there
going to be
something
Maybe
like a
else?
Canada
tattoo
will
parlor in
annex
the
us if
old
we're
folks'
lucky.
home? Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to be ceded to Canada.
I
Huh.
saw this like crazy video today that was like kind of like the same, like I've done more research on like the sort of like upcoming American version of fascism around like the religious versions of it, so Christian
Mhm.
nationalism
Yep.
more than anything else. But today
Yeah.
somebody sent me this like this YouTube video that was like all the tech bros, like Musk and like Teal and like all these other guys, and they're like, it was basically saying, oh, they're also working with all these same people to change the government and transform it in these ways. And I was like, wow, it was something
Yeah.
I
We got,
I had never even saw come, like trying to
yeah.
set up like these smaller, um, not even smaller than states where they basically the oligarchy controls it 100%, and
Hmm.
it's all the tech bro oligarchy apparently. I don't
Uh-huh.
know. It sounded like a conspiracy theory to me, but nothing surprises me these anymore. I'm
Right.
like, just
And
whoa,
nothing
okay.
is proven to be false yet. Yeah, exactly. It's like whatever you
Oh,
thought could happen, it seems to be, we seem to be going faster in different directions than we thought. So,
Yeah, all I
yeesh.
can do is love the people that I'm around and be real in the moment, and that's about it. I kind of gave up on even like I was really trying to get my family members who are MAGA into recognizing the parallels of like World War II fascism and the propaganda around it, and how that there's some parallels going on, and I'm just done with that. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? This is what's happening here, and maybe I'm wrong and I don't see clearly, but maybe they are, and I'll just it doesn't matter. I love those people and they can have different opinions. I'm yeah. So,
I live in rural North Carolina, so
Yeah.
you can imagine
Yep. Yep.
the the climate where I'm
well,
at.
up here is like from where Brock's at to where I'm at, there's everything on the I-5 corridor, probably all the way down to like somewhere past Portland is very like progressive and tends to be liberal. But on either side of both Oregon and Portland, it's like some of the craziest stuff that you can like everything in the South almost times 10 it seems sometimes like there's weird stuff. It's nutballs like in rural Oregon and rural
Yep.
Washington. It's
Yep.
like something other. There's like a whole dialect of like speaking even that's sort of like this weird cross between a southern drawl and like a native like accent, like Native American to these parts, like
Hmm.
the indigenous people. It's like this weird kind of drawly thing like this. Hey, you got a Rainier? Like it's this weird like Washington, Oregon redneck thing that
You
exists.
boys
And
are in Shelton now.
exactly,
Yep.
Right.
It's like that. Yep.
100%. It's a and so there's a just because the majority of the people in these states live in the city, I don't even know if it's I mean Seattle definitely no Portland's huge too. I mean, it's a small. Seattle and Portland are both small cities in comparison to East Coast cities for sure. But
I looked it up and
um,
Shelton has 10,000 people.
that's
That's
it.
yeah, but that's more than I thought, in terms of, I guess it's gotten bigger.
Well, it must have because I'm sure that most people in that area probably live in Olympia.
Yeah, right, right, yeah. And then
Because
well, Port Angeles, sorry, 19,000 is the population I looked up.
yep, that sounds
So
about right.
that's twice the size of Shelton. It seems like it ought to be bigger than that, I guess, just proportionally. But again, here we are.
When Marty and I went to school there, the high school, there's one high school in Port Angeles. It's granted, it's about the size of a city high school, but there's only one.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's everybody from kind of all over.
Yep, from the sort of outside of the city area coming in.
Yeah.
Even some,
Yeah.
there was Squim, which is next to Port Angeles, the other small
Swim, the
town.
rain shadow. Yeah. The
Yeah,
driest part of
exactly.
the peninsula.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's funny.
Um,
It's so
I'll
beautiful out
have you
there, though.
know, Jeff, while we were talking earlier about the Olympic Peninsula, I noticed on the Wikipedia article for Port Angeles, sorry, I keep on making that mistake.
That's okay.
Under notable people, Jeff Suffering was not listed. And so I added you on the
Fix
Wikipedia
it.
article. Yeah, yeah. And Jeff
That's
Suffering has a Wikipedia page too, so it's not like that's going to get taken down. That's been established. But you're now listed among notable people from Port Angeles.
Oh, that's funny. Well,
Yeah.
thank
doing the
you.
Lord's work there.
Thank
Dallas
you.
Fire.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would love to end up back on the Olympic Peninsula if I ever get to retire. That would be amazing. It's so beautiful there.
Oh yeah. So when I was there last summer, we did the bike trip thing, and there's that bike path that goes from like Port Townsend to, eventually they wanted to go to La Push. I
Oh,
think right
wow.
now it stops like outside of Crescent Lake or something. Beautiful segment, some of it. I broke my chain on one part of it. That's my fault, really, but it's fun. Anyways, I had to take the bus back to where we staged our truck after we'd done a couple nights of camping, and so I hopped on the bus from Lake Crescent back into Port Angeles, and I thought to myself as I was taking the bus, I could drive this thing. I'd be happy just driving the bus from like Forks to Port Angeles every day and back again. How great would that be?
That would be pretty awesome.
Good gig. Yeah, they're not hiring though. I checked. It
Oh,
seems like they might have a bunch of happy drivers that work for them and don't want to retire. So
yeah, probably. That's a
Mm.
beautiful drive.
yeah, but I'll keep my eyes open.
Yeah, you should.
Could be that'll be my thing. I do.
My grandparents used to own a house on Lake Crescent, so I pretty much
Did
grew up
they?
at that lake like every
Oh my
weekend. I know that
goodness.
lake really, really, really well.
Wow,
Um,
that's great.
and every year,
On like the private parts of it,
yeah, I mean, I know the whole lake. I had
not
friends that
private
had
parts,
played.
but like privately owned properties. Yeah.
Yes, I understand.
Trying to earn our E rating. I see what you're doing there.
I do, definitely. I think there has been times when my private parts have blessed that lake.
Oh, sure. I mean, whose hasn't, right? It just seems like the
For
natural
sure.
How
thing.
else would you
Yeah,
know
there
it
you are.
well? I don't
Yeah,
know.
Yeah.
my like my dad's part of the family, the Bettgers, and all of my cousins on that side of the family always have like every summer we go out to the lake to this campground and sort of have like a cousins reunion or whatever every summer. And
Nice.
so
Yeah.
and we stay at this place called Log Cabin Resort out there that's got these small cabins in a campground. But we can every year we always like paddleboard down to the old cabin and take a look and always go, why the hell did my grandparents not keep that in the family? It's
Seriously.
so
Yeah, they should have lived
amazing.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, it
No
was I wish
doubt.
they would have, but they didn't. So yeah, but I grew up on that lake and I have taken that drive to Forks from Port Angeles before. I don't think I
Yeah.
ever took the bus because nobody really wanted to hang out very often in Forks. Um,
Naturally.
yeah, it was especially quite the scary place. We did a few times purposefully go out there just to. I guess we were probably fucking with the locals, I would assume, because
I
there
mean,
was
what else are you gonna do in Forks? Yeah.
yeah, there's like one coffee house, so we just show up all like mohawked or golf paint or whatever and show up and go drink coffee for like an hour in Forks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody stares at you and like, what the hell are these people doing here? I got a story. So before if you're driving from where I live, which is east of that area, and you take the ferry over and you're driving past Port Townsend, there's this casino called Seven Cedars Casino. And it's oh, I can't remember the little town, but there's a tribe, the native tribe right there, but there used to be on the corner where the highway turns and starts towards going to Squim, there was this old bar that used to be out there and it was a redneck like lager bar and it
Okay.
used to be called Dicky Birds. It's not there anymore, but it was Dicky Birds.
Yeah.
And when I turned 21, it was my birthday and me and my buddy James were coming to Seattle. Actually, I think we were going to see Don't Know at the Rock House.
Hmm.
And so
No
we
way.
were like, yeah, we were like, well, let's stop at Dickie Bird's because his birthday's 2 days before mine. So we're both 21 now. And
Mm.
I walk in and have this big old mohawk. As soon as I get in, the first thing's, it's totally like the Shelton thing. It was like, you
Just a
guys,
screech.
look at that kid's hair. And they're like,
It's
you gotta
standing
come
straight
over here
up.
and someone's getting a haircut tonight. And so literally what happened was they sat me down and took out a pair of scissors, cut my hair, but then they just started, all of these people just started buying me drinks. Like
Nice.
I played good sport and let them cut my hair. And so suddenly I was like a story for the night. And I probably I was lucky James was driving. I should say that much. By the time we
Right.
get to yeah, I was pretty toasty by the time we got all the way into Seattle to the show. It was bad. But I do remember that night, and I do. Yeah, we were. It was Don't Know. It might have been Soul Food 76 might have been playing
Oh,
Oh,
that
wow.
show too.
A feast for the ears.
Yeah, totally. That was so long ago. Do you guys remember that band?
I do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah,
just picked
definitely.
up like 2 of their CDs this last week.
Oh, nice. Oh, it could have even been Poor Old Lou might have even been playing. Like we used to go see them
Yeah.
too back in the day.
Yeah.
That was crazy. Yeah, it was funny because we'd go to Seattle to see the Christian rock bands, and we'd go to see the punk shows, and we'd go to see we'd go to this goth club in the U District. So we'd always like we were kind of like all I was kind of always like all over the place with I mean growing up and having like a profound faith in Christ. Obviously, you did pay attention to the those circles, even if I wasn't like one of the kids that was could only listen to Christian music or anything.
Hmm.
But yeah, I definitely it was funny because we liked everything. Scattered Few, like
Oh,
that was
yeah.
one of me and Marty growing up. That was like one of our favorite bands.
Yeah.
That album Sin Disease,
Yep.
love that
Mhm.
record. Even to this day, I
They're
really
kind of the front runners, right?
yeah, Pre-Tooth and Nail for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely, they paved the way, I think, for um, sort of what bands like mine and Matt's and all of our bands were sort of doing, which helped then pave the way for like Under Oath and Emery and those guys, which is great
Yeah.
because they basically, in my opinion, like they essentially, I don't know if they even would say this. I have no idea. I don't. I mean, I talked to Matt Carter a little bit about this stuff, but I think that those bands, especially Under Oath, sort of like finished Christian rock
Oh,
and
okay.
Mhm.
just ended it. And
Yeah.
now the only thing that's considered like Christian music is praise and worship, and
Mhm.
Yeah.
everything else is just music.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm super love that. Like that's kind of what we used to fight for was like we just want to be in a band playing music and we
Right.
do sing about our faith and have these things. And I think that that also was on the first 90 Pound Wuss record, we literally were a Bible study and then we'd have band practice. So all the lyrics were kind of coming up from just having a Bible study. So that's
Yeah.
one of the reasons why that record, the lyrics are more like that. We didn't know that we were going to get signed or whatever. And then on top of it, like there was this sort of like naivety about Christian music at the time. We didn't realize that it was kind of, in some ways, unfortunately, it was kind of like a way to utilize somebody's faith as a marketing ploy,
Hmm.
and
Mhm.
that is why we sort of branched off and didn't want to be doing those like youth group shows anymore. It wasn't because of the kids that liked our music or the anybody who liked our music. It was more or less these expectations that were sort of heaped upon us as suddenly we're supposed to be a ministry band just because we have like a belief in Christ. And it felt more like to me it felt more like the when Jesus like knocked over the tables for selling, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
animals for sacrifice right in front of the temple. It felt more like that to me. And those were always the kind of things that we didn't appreciate about the about being associated with tooth and nail. Now that I'm older, I'm like, well, I just know myself better, and so I won't do that again. But I had
Mhm.
no idea then,
Mhm.
and even even if I'm choosing to sing about Jesus or my faith or God in any way, it's just going to be what it is. And I'm really glad we got to do what we got to do, and I'm thankful for everybody who their lives were radically changed by what that record label did, certainly. And
Yeah.
all the bands on that record label had, really, I mean, there was people who'd never heard punk rock before, and they heard our record, and it was like the first time I, heard Minor Threat or the Sex Pistols or Dead Kennedys or something. For somebody, it was that profound for that, and in the same way.
Mhm.
And so that's really means a lot to me and Marty. Take it very seriously, and that's another reason why maybe you won't hear the girl song anytime soon, if at all. But
Right.
for the most part, we're playing songs from that record for sure because I I I appreciate that people like it. And it's great to like not be as pretentious as I was at one point about that record. And yeah, now it's funny because now it's like I wish that the second record sounded better. It's so
Mhm.
brutal, like the recording's so
Mhm.
noisy that I'm like, we should re-record some of these songs, but I don't think anybody else is into it. So we'll probably see new 90 Pound Wuss stuff that's not necessarily re-recording old songs. Maybe. I don't know. I keep suggesting let's re-record some old songs. I kind of don't want to touch shorthand though. I think it sounds great,
Yep.
and it means something to me that even if we change some of the songs, somebody would have to present me with a pretty good argument about. I don't think a live recording's a big deal, but yeah, because the live recording is coming out and it does have a lot of songs from everything. I'm pretty excited for that actually.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll have it May 31st when we play. First time in 25 years in my own hometown. Seattle.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
Anyway,
I
Yeah.
I think it is important for us to like at least take a moment to say we appreciate that you made that music back then. But
Yeah.
I think it's good to hear as a fan now that you appreciate what you made and what it meant, even with the time and like the growth as a person and recognizing the difference and maybe okay, I would have done it a little bit like you know who you are now, like you just said, but being able to look back without bitterness or resentment and appreciate how you mattered in a way to people. And I would count myself in that group of like, if there's any positive, and I'm with you. Like I'm grateful that now there's not like Christian rock, and it's like
Yeah.
you can just make music, and if this is true about who you are, you can say that, and if it's faith related, you have the same freedom that any other artist has to say what they care about, which I think is what a artist who is a Christian or has a person of faith should have the freedom to do, which is say what they feel, because I think that's good art. But I think if there was any positive or whatever from the label back when, I was one of those kids who wasn't necessarily allowed to have music that was secular, at least CDs, like I'm listening to the radio, so I'm sneaking off whatever's a radio hit. But I never owned a CD of a quote secular artist in the 90s. Um, as a kid who was limited to Christian music, as far as what I could possess and own and buy a CD of and like follow an artist and listen to it openly when my parents are around. And so my introduction to punk, like I heard like Green Day on the radio. So there's like that. But I knew the radio singles. And then it was like MXPX for me was the first thing that I purchased a CD and was like, oh, what is this? This is cool. I like it. And it sounds like sort of that thing on the radio. Like it reminded me of the thing I heard on the radio that I like that I'm not allowed to have, but I'm allowed to have this. I can listen to the whole CD. I don't have to hide it. And then I remember listening to the first 90 Pound Wuss record and being a little bit scared. That was a little bit like it's a
yes.
different kind of punk, right? For a Christian sheltered kid. It was like I like it, but I don't know if I'm supposed to like it that much. I don't know if I like that I like it a little bit, and I don't know. Like it was easy. Pop punk was one thing, you know what I mean? Like MXPX is like easy to digest and like, oh, this is cool. And that's not a knock against him. Like
Yeah.
I'm not criticizing. But 90 Pound Wuss was like that, pushing the boundary of that
Mhm.
musically, but it was safe. I could have it in my house, so I could explore that, and I could go there. And then like I eventually found my way into other things as well. After I went off to college, so like, yeah, like you guys were a vehicle for I assume so many others like me, who that was the door into the way you could express yourself creatively, musically, and do things that you just weren't aware of if you kind of grew up sheltered records like music like yours played a huge part in my formation and development and musical taste, and like opening my eyes beyond Michael W. Smith, Stephen Curtis Chapman, and whatever it was. That was the early stuff when I was like elementary school and middle school, to be like, oh, okay, now I can like explore music that I personally like, that my mom might be a little concerned about, but but I can get away with the lyrics because it's Christian. Like, it's fine. I'm allowed to have it. So yeah, I think it's worth saying. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's cool to be able to have a conversation with you now, all these years later, and say that, and to hear that you appreciate what you did in that way.
What's funny is I actually sonically I actually like that first record better than Where Meager Die for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
100%. I think sonically, like that record sounds to me like Subhumans or like some like classic punk stuff that I listen to. And like the second record, I just feel was so. We had a really nice studio in a short period of time, and I just don't think we did it justice. We played all live together in a room, everything bled together, and it's just sonically, I don't think it sometimes it's great, but yeah, it's interesting. Like after getting this back together and reassessing and re-listening to the first record a bunch, trying to figure out what was going on and how to redo some of those songs, I really actually I like it. I do. I even some of the songs that it's funny because it's mostly like the girl song's a little embarrassing because it's so specific about my spouse at a specific time, and with some mentality to it that was just naive and immature, and like those are more the reasons, less the reasons of like the Jesus-y parts of it don't that doesn't really bother me so much. It's more like other things now that bother me about it, and they're just mostly feel like, well, I could do that again if we need to. I'll play those songs. It's fine, and I don't even have a pretentious about it anymore. So, but I did for a long time because I thought what we did at the end was like, I mean, I still think even to this day with all the other bands and stuff that I've done, and been in, I think that Shorthand Operation is probably it's my favorite record that I've ever been a part of making, and I still really enjoy it a lot. Like, I remember all the process of writing it, and how John and I used to fight like brothers, and yeah, I really like that album. It's funny though, because now when I write songs, I'm not like trying to emulate any of it. I'm just writing kind of how I'm feeling, and since I'm listening to a lot of punk again, and all kinds of music, it's pretty much reflective of, I think, hopefully will sound like 90 Pound Wuss, and people will be able to see and understand the direction that we're going, and can also see like that, oh, they're also like, this could totally fit on that first record, or like one of the more pop punk songs on the second record, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
That's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait to hear the new stuff.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing with me, Jared. That means a lot to me when people tell me that, because I know that discovering music when you're in your formative years is pretty powerful, and so it's always really cool to hear that people discovered our music then, and it meant something to them. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it.
I think an accidental joy of us deciding to do a podcast is having the opportunity to tell people who made art we care about that right directly to them. That wasn't our intention, and we just found ourselves here, and like we have a group chat and we get a little giddy about it. It's like, I can't believe we got to say that. Thank you directly to the people. It's fun. So yeah, thanks for taking the time with us too. That's really cool.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for hitting me up and having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and you know, like once things kind of get started with that other band that you're working on, like if you want to come back on and tell us more about that, you know, obviously, even if we're not recording it for a podcast, we'd all love to, you know, just chat for a bit and you know, hear more about that for sure.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, stay in touch for sure.
Is Dry Bones still happening? I bought the vinyl. I like it. It's good.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's really, I really enjoyed making that record. It was great because it was the time I was sort of leaving Mars Hill Church, and it was very cathartic for me, and really great for me to sort of process all of that and make that record with Joe. It was fun. I'm hoping that Joe and I will do more stuff. I have 2 of the demos that I wrote in the last couple year are definitely Dry Bone songs.
Mm.
Probably won't be 90 Pound Wuss because they're really electronic sort of. They don't have guitars. But we'll see. I mean, it could be. I don't know. But there's two that remind me of it. So hopefully the plan is to do something with that again. Yes.
Cool.
How it happened was literally Joe would send me tracks and I would go to my friend Jared's house and he'd record me. It was all in the moment. It wasn't really thought out super. I mean, I'd write stuff down as I'm listening there, but I'd just take and track those times. Sometimes I'd listen to the stuff beforehand and sort of think of ideas, but it wasn't super rehearsed. And so it was pretty raw. Yeah, that was fun.
Cool. That Jared
Anyway,
guy sounds like a decent fellow.
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
It's my wife.
Yeah, you got to go. Yeah. Thank you. It's been a long time.
I don't really. She just likes to hassle me. But if you have to go, yeah.
Hi, Tammy.
Hi. I was going to say, Brock, if you come up to the Seattle show, I'll probably see you.
Yeah, man. Yep. I will say hello.
Yeah, definitely. It's a small venue, so
Yeah.
yeah. We'll see each other.
Yeah. So the dude that sent the questions, he lives in Alabama, but his friend, who was the other coolest guy in high school, was also super into 90 Pound Wuss. And so I'm going to see if I can bring him up there.
Oh, that would be rad. Yeah.
See what we can do.
I don't think it'll sell out until like probably April or May, but
but it will sell out.
Yeah, so get tickets. I don't
Yeah.
I don't even have a guest list. I'm buying tickets for my family too.
Right. Right.
Oh no.
It's some when you play a smaller venue and you know it's going to sell out, is kind of that's the way it rolls.
Yeah.
Sometimes I know that we can't. We live here, so it would be like, guest list could probably pack it, and so that's not
Yeah.
happening.
Right,
So
yeah.
we're just not doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Cool deal. Pleasure.
Yeah, thank you
Yeah,
so
thank
much
you,
for
man.
coming on. Yeah, you'll have to
totally.
make sure you send me that the YouTube videos.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. I'll do that right now.
Okay,
As soon as we get off, that'll be rad. Okay. Cool. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks.
Awesome.
All right,
Thanks so
man.
much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye.
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 Oh,
That was fun.
that was so much fun.
Yeah. He's a neat dude.
Yeah.
He is. The game went better than I expected. It started out slow.
Yeah.
They always finish well. Our games.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Anything else we need to do before we call it a night?
I don't. What do you have an outro for us?
Oh, naturally I do. I've been thinking about it all evening.
You've been jotting notes.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's the news from Lake Scabagan, where all the men have facial hair, and all the women do not have facial hair, and all the children are considering how someday they will grow above average facial hair. Onward, fickle soldiers.
Well done, fellas.
We did it.
Another perfect podcast. You just
I can't think of any way I'd improve it.
I don't. Can't get any better.
Oh man.
That's a
Oh,
lot.
did I ever time back in? Sorry, we lost
Oh,
the last
shit.
like 40 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah, sorry about that. Well,
Sorry, Jeff. I think my favorite thing for people who've never listened to is like, so they're gonna ask any questions? Like, nope, probably not. Unless it involves flags or exotic animals or.
Yeah.
Well, and with Jeff, for me, I was like, let's talk about Washington State.
Oh, that was great.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. I literally have like 12 open tabs. I just kept searching stuff.
And Brock did actually update Wikipedia.
I did. Yeah,
Kevin
Jeff
sent me a
Suffering
text.
is a
Yep.
notable person.
Hey.
Darn right.
Yep.
Welcome to a pickled home companion, a conversation between newfound long lost friends, a podcast about another podcast. From two aging frontmen of ska bands. it's less strange than it sounds. It's a pickle home companion. Onward, pickle soldiers.